So, jeez. Okay. Let's see. Gigantic piece of styrofoam. Hey, it gave us a full spool of filament. We appreciate that, Comgrow. I mean, on a printer like this, you need a full spool of filament. So a lot of cool things going on with this printer, and we're gonna take them step by step as we go through. First, we have the instructions. It's like gigantic instructions for a gigantic printer. It's a full book, not super thick though, that's good. This should go mostly together. Tells us about assembly, some touchscreen options, bed leveling, such things like this. It's supposedly pretty quick to get together. And I'll show the camera a little closer later that we have maybe just 4 or 5 steps to get this thing all together, not including putting the screen on, but we'll get through that. Ow. Yeah, where am I going to put it? I don't know. I don't know where I'm going to put it. That's like the hardest question with this. That and I had to scour. I bought this like 2 months ago, maybe longer. They were supposed to ship it in October and they never did. And it got to me a few days ago. I was dying to open it and I'm thinking, does it have a filament runout sensor on it? Because if it doesn't, what are we doing here? This is a huge build volume printer and you're going to go through at least more than one spool, probably for some prints. It does have a filament runout sensor. So that made me a little more, that put me at ease a little bit. Maybe Comgrow knows what they're doing. Can we get the shot here? So everyone here can see what we're looking at in this box. Okay. So, normal peripherals, I gotta stop saying that. Just the normal tools and screws that come with most of these printers. We have some zip ties. We have a spatula. I know Feder said it once on his stream, but if I'm gonna be doing any spackling, this is that nice wooden handle. I'm not sure why. I guess that means it's not a PEI bed if they give me a spatula. Not 100% sure on that. Small USB. The needle to do nothing but stick myself. We talked about it on the last stream. Oh, wait a second. Oh, this must be a new thing. This is the second time. So we opened the Ender 3 V3 SE last week. This is the second time that a company, Creality, did it last week, gave us something besides a needle to unclog filament. This is really it. This little tool, it's a little skinnier, or a little, the width is less, best way to say it, than filament 1.75. It's probably 1.7, 1.65. Best way to unclog any extruder is with something like this. These needles do nothing. This does all. So I'm very happy that this is the second box in a row that I've opened it where it was included. Maybe that's a new thing. Pair of snippers that look just like the Creality ones. Shocker. It's 7/17. Okay, maybe after dinner you're catching us. I appreciate that. Thank you to all who are stopping by and who aren't. Check out the VOD. It'll be up. All right, so we have nozzles. We have screws. They gave us a few different nozzles. I see a 0.08 nozzle, which is smart because this is a huge printer. We're going to want to do some huge layers with it. The nozzles look like they might be volcano-style nozzles. So I don't know how big they are necessarily. They look pretty large. I'm hoping these are volcano sizes. I'm really just hoping these aren't a unique size. Whenever they make them a unique size, it makes it harder for us, obviously, in the aftermarket area to find new nozzles. So we have to constantly go back to Comgrow. It's a smart decision to make it the same as normal, so hopefully that's what these are. All right, so we're going to need that. We have our filament runout sensor as well here. Right there, we're going to be hooking that up. Very simple hookup, it looks like. Some tweezers and a hex wrench. The sturdiest of all hex wrenches. I could probably take my tire off my car with that. All right. Let's move along. We have a power cable. Very nice. All right, so now I see 3 of these. I'm curious as to, oh, okay. So these braces right here, this is what is going to help stabilize the large and very enormous Z-axis. These are going to go right at the base and up along the Z-axis to try and stabilize this. This is very hard steel. It feels like it's machined very well. It's like it's got good body to it if you're a wine drinker. No, it's got heft to it. This should hopefully help maintain that large axis over long print times. I'm happy to see something like this at least involved, and this feels like it is up to snuff, up to the job. We're going to find out though. So we'll take those out. That's one for each side. And then we have the same bracket, which is kind of weird, for the filament spool holder. So it's actually on a bearing, which is nice. It's actually a pretty nice filament spool holder. They didn't just kind of cheap out and give us something to mount on the top rail. It's actually pretty nice. Nice design. Steel or aluminum, I'm not really sure. But this is definitely steel right here. This is also hefty. It's also robust. I don't know why they had to do that on this end, but I'm not against it. It's nice that they went all out for the filament to sit on. All right, let's see what kind of filament. Let's see what kind of filament they gave us. So it's just PLA, white PLA. Full spool though, which is nice. Printer like this, I suspect, should come with a full spool of PLA. So maybe we'll use that first. I don't know. We have a hidden box right here. Oh wow, this is huge. That is the clipper screen. This thing is gigantic. 7 inches. I mean, I think you had to go big with something like this because if you had a smaller screen, it would be dwarfed next to the printer. So it's cool. It's got this chunky little sci-fi-esque cover around it, and that's the clipper screen. So that should do the job for us. Navigating this box is a thing all its own. Okay. A piece of metal. Not really sure yet. We'll find out. It's covering something. Whatever. We'll figure it out. Okay, that should be it for the top section of this box. Let's move that. Oh, wow. Thing is enormous. Let me get you guys in here. So, frame to frame. That is the footprint. I believe it's probably a little lower too, because it probably goes out on one side. But that is the footprint of this 3D printer. This is the build size. One corner, second corner, obviously. We have our hot end. It's big, it's chunky. I'm not sure how I'm gonna get to that. Anyone in the New York area that wants to come try and shuck this thing out of the box with me, I would appreciate it. All right, so let's see. Go to this view for everyone so you can. Okay, here's the top. This probably weighs 20 pounds. That's a lot. It's all metal, it's all enclosed. We have a proximity sensor, some built-in LEDs. Give you guys a nice light on this, or a nice view on this. I need to get a probably 3D print stream box so I can do something with it. All right, so here's our extruder. It's a tight little machine. All right, so here's the filament runout sensor. Not sure what that other thing in the box was that I thought. So you'll see, for instance, the X Gantry right here, all covered. No tensioners of any type. I guess it's all linear. Movement's super smooth. I like that. We want to move the Z-axis. They give us these screw holders right here at the top, one on each side. We don't have to worry about messing up the angle or the tilt of any one side of the axis. This has independent stepper motors and independent stepper drivers, which means we'll be able to use Clipper's Z-tilt calibration, which will use a proximity sensor to tilt the X-axis until it is perfectly straight, or perfectly trammed is probably the better word to use. In case anyone's wondering, we have our Chewbacca mug can insulator from Hex 3D, had to remember that. Printed on the King Room KLP1 in 3D Max PLA. Thing is awesome, man. Loving that King Room. Loving that Ender 3 V3 SE so far, too, to be honest. I've been under the weather lately. Much needed drink. Geez. This is heavy, this is bulky, but it doesn't look cheap in any way. It feels really solid and really thick. Even the back, if you can see, I mean, the back looks just like the front basically, but it's all like well machined. Even the top here, there's 2 holes right here threaded for the filament holder. It looks really nice. It looks super polished, which is good. I mean, it's super boxy. I see no belts. I see no rails. Nothing is really left out. Very interesting for a first-time company. I think this is their first printer, but if it's not, it's got to be one of their first. But it's interesting for a company to have gone to these lengths to make this look as good as it does so far. I mean, will it print good though? That's really what matters. So on top of here, we have I guess a 24-pin connection right here. So that's going to help hide our wires. Everything's going to go through there. This is not under here, if we can see. We have a strip of LEDs, proximity sensor, and not 1, not 2, but 3 part cooling fans. So that's pretty cool. I think we might take that shroud off later and take a look under the hood just to make sure. All right, where can we put this so it don't get damaged? It's got to be 15 pounds at least. Okie dokes. Now, probably the hardest part, the bed. Getting this bed out will be no small task. So one thing, look at this bed sheet. That's ridiculous. Oh my God, this is the coolest thing. This bed sheet, it's probably, it's not PEI, it's probably polycarbonate. This thing is gigantic. So Dino, if you're still here, I know you have the Bamboo Lab, the P1S, right? This is the P1S build sheet, printable build sheet, right there. That is how big this is compared to that. This is enormous. Like, it doesn't even, that's wild. It feels like it's like a clown, like some sort of carnival gag that I'm holding right here. Okay. Nice magnetic sticker on the bottom. Let me go back to it for you. They did a good job putting it on. Yeah, this thing, it's funny like to hold it because it's huge. That is kind of a problem though. That means that we're only going to Comgrow, you know, when this thing eventually has a problem or I scratch it or something. You only got to go to Comgrow for it, and I'm sure it's like 120 bucks for something that size. All right, let's try and get it out. Cable chains look nice already. Okay. There's some wiring underneath there. It's heavy. All right. Gonna attempt this. So front to back's probably not a smart idea because the bed's gonna move. Side to side, tilting this bad boy out is probably a good idea. There's a zip tie in the box that has been broken free. I don't know why. A little worried about that. Let me hit you all with a different angle so you don't see my bald head. Well, you know what? Now you can see my bald head. Okay, so this is the plan. Okay, now where do we put it when we get it up? Oh my God. This thing's crazy heavy. I pulled my back, I'm joking. Yeah. Not for the faint of heart. There's our nice cable chain and wiring. Okay. Let's get some of this stuff out of here so we can get a better workspace. have to throw it past the camera so I don't actually hit the camera. All right, so hopefully that's it. Box looks empty. Okay. It's out of the box. That's half the battle, probably. I have to imagine the only other thing we need to do now is get that gantry on. So I probably can put it directly down onto the ground. If it's broken, how do I... Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's one of those, if it's broken, they're going to send you a brand new printer, because there's no way you're sending this thing back. Okay. So I was slicing models on this yesterday, and just the actual 3D models themselves, the size that you could max out on this build plate versus the P1P and the KLP1 and the Quiddy was tremendous. It was crazy. Like, you saw these sizes, and the Quiddy's the biggest printer I have, the X-Max 3, and it dwarfed those models by, I mean, a number of factors. So I can't wait. Let's see if it actually prints, though. Okay. What is the first thing that we need to do? So we have the book. All right, so it is a PC polycarbonate top. Or bed sheet, I should say, not top. Here are all our different oh, so that's an accelerometer in the bag. I thought it was a film run-out sensor. It's actually an accelerometer. That's interesting. I didn't think they had one installed because it's not a Core XY. It's obviously two different axes that are moving. I did not know that they actually gave us one. Okay, so let's see. Gantry would be obviously the first thing we're going to do. Lock it in place. 4 screws on either side. The extruder kit should face the front. I would hope so. M5 by 35, so let's do it. That looks pretty simple enough. It looks like there's some channels for us to actually lock them in, so we're not going to have to really square this up. You can only put it in one way. So what did I say, 5 by 35s? Let's get these up and running. So we have 3 different nozzles that they gave us, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8. I have to imagine the one on the machine's 0.4. It probably should be 0.6, but it's probably 0.4 because that's just standard. These are M5 by 35 times 8. Okie dokes. All right. Let me get this thing back down. Just don't look right. So they say it's an 86-pound printer. I thought that was about 15 pounds. This is probably 30 pounds. I don't think it's just that bad. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't really lifted weights in a bit. So I'm sure my judgment's way off. Okay, this needs to come out. Just this wiring. Let's see if I can get you all better look here. Is my desktop audio playing? Are we still getting some music in the background? Use it, yeah, no, on John, on something like this, I think, I mean, 0.6 is kind of what? I think I got it. I think I got to use a 0.6 on this. Okay, good. We have background music. Ain't nobody want to hear just me this whole time. Okay, so I got to just get this wiring out a little bit. So pretty cool. I mean, as you can see, the cabling, they have cables, whatchamacallit? Cable guides already. I can't think of the word for some reason. And they have the nice cabling that you see on a lot of newer printers where, for instance, this is like a 26-pin connector. It's just one wire that's going to be going up to our extruder. Maybe one that's coming off for something else. This may be the filament runout sensor. So that's pretty cool. So I like that. The bed looks clean. Apart from anything else, we have 2 really chunky motors that are going to move our y-axis. So that's not 1, that's 2 motors for the y-axis. Very smart. I mean, A lot of the things they've done, we said this was like a red flag printer, but a lot of the stuff they've done has been smart. 2 motors here, 2 motors on the y-axis, that is, 2 motors on the z-axis, braces for the z-axis, and a very stable printer. So I think this is definitely a red flag printer, but I'm impressed so far, at least from the production of it. Why, you know what, the next question really becomes, oh, wait a second. I have to get under this printer, right? The question becomes, why do you need a printer this big? And to that, there's no wrong answer, and there's really no right answer. Okay, so I need to get under, just like those old enders, if anyone put them together, we put an ender together this week. We have to get under the base to get the screws in, but this thing's huge. I don't have a car lift in my house, so I think I'm going to put it on the table, get under it, get the screws in, and then put it down, maneuvering once the gantry's actually on it. I think that's the only option we have, though. Oh boy. Okay, let's try this again. Guess I'll do it that way. We're going to now take this top piece off, leave it to the side, because I'm going to be putting stuff on the bed occasionally. Oh, great. I'm going to be putting stuff on the bed occasionally. I don't want it to get ruined. Okay, this might work. Of course, now I'm on these wires. Okay. Okay. We'll try this. Get you all an up close and personal look at this. I don't know how long we're going to stream today. I really want to get this thing out of the box. I want to look at the slicer, and I want to show you everything. It just really depends on how well this works for us. Okie dokes. Let me get M5 by 35. These are M5 by 18s. Did I put them somewhere else? Of course I did. Pardon me. Yeah, I don't know if you heard me earlier. I was like panting because getting this thing out of the box was a nightmare. The best thing to do probably would have been to cut the box open completely and slide it out of its side once it was like semi-open. I just don't want to do that. That would probably be the smart way to go about it. Okay. So now we get the right hex driver. There we go. We take a sip of our beer because we need it. And here we go. This thing is so nice that I don't want to damage it. Okay, so slides right in. Very cool. Can we go back to this angle? Slid right in. Really cool. I mean, they machined this thing very well. I mean, it's a perfect fit. So this is the slot for it to go in. And it slides right in there. I mean, very nice. And you know what? I'm a dum-dum. I'm just used to older printers where we put the screws in from the bottom. But guess what? The screws are up top here. So I can put them in directly from the top, which is very smart. I mean, Comgrow is kind of doing all the right things right now. I can now safely move this back to the ground, and I can do it from there. I mean, that would be the smart way to do it when you have a printer that's this big. And guess what? They actually did that. Companies usually don't do that. Comgrow did a nice job. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Move these back over here. Move this back down. So when you guys buy this out there, just know you can assemble it on your floor completely. Yeah, the floor. Floor is the way to go. We didn't know that because every iteration of any printer ever before it had you put the screws in from the bottom. But this one, because it's machined in such a way where it has actual feet here that are going to hold it, I mean, I have to imagine that costs more money in production, but it saves us time, headache, and it's more precise when we put it together. So I appreciate that. That's really cool. I like that a lot. Trying not to cough into the mic, but I am still sick. So. Chewie understands. That's all that matters to me. Okay. Now we get to put in these 4 screws. Now, I've lorded over this printer so far. I haven't touched the thing yet. I'm going to put this first screw and it's going to strip immediately, probably. All right, well, here's the first issue. I got to get my driver because the hex drivers don't want to turn with the uprights in the way. Not the biggest problem. I'm sure they gave me the correct driver in the box. I'm just too stubborn to open it up right now. And by stubborn, I mean... Don't tell anyone. Okie dokie. Okay, screws in. We gotta bring this axis up. So I'm using the manual adjustment screws right here to drive the x-axis gantry up along the z-axis, which is of course the up to down, the vertical axes, so I can get my screwdriver in there. Okay. Let me get this clipper screen from back over here before I forget it's there. Where'd my phone go off? I have no clue where it is. Anyone sees it, let me know, please. Okay. Enough jabberjaw. Oh, there it is. It's on top of my quid. Found it. This doesn't look like it's going anywhere. All right, so after these 4 screws, we put the base on, those struts that you saw, those very... Yeah, Colin, this is a big boy. So this is the Comgrow T500. T stands for tremendous. 500 stands for the build size. I don't know if the T stands for that. I was just joking. So this is the Comgrow T500. It is 500 millimeters in every direction. Just so, for comparison, a regular Ender 3 is 220 by 220 by 250. This is more than double that. I'm going to show it again, but we showed the size of the build plate compared to like a P1P, the Bamboo Labs build plate, and it just dwarfs it. A lot of red flags about the printer. Comgrow is the brand that is producing it. They're known as a reseller for Creality. They're not known for making their own printers. So that's like kind of the first red flag. Let me give you my face while I'm doing this. The second red flag is that this is, and by red flag, I just mean like, you know, suspicious. We're not saying anything nefarious. The second red flag would be that their first offering is a huge printer and it's a bed slinger. A gigantic build volume bed slinger is very scary. Just imagine the size and the weight of this bed going back and forth at a high rate of speed or any rate, and then imagine a model's on it now. You have, you know, you're gonna wanna make a big model. You have a 400 millimeter Z height model on this going back and forth in that bed. That's frightening to think that it'll be consistent, but they went for it. So I'm a little worried. New company, new production. And they are shooting for the fences. But so far, build quality looks awesome. Hold on. The wife is calling. So, while Comgrow is new to the game of making printers, they've been a reseller for Creality since forever. And no one said bad things about that necessarily. So, their track record isn't bad for that. All right. Hold on one second. Yeah, I'm going to anchor this thing down. It's anchoring me down. Give me one. All right. It was important, but not that important. We're back. Okay, let's get this thing anchored down. Quite literally, Colin. Yeah, anchoring this thing down is probably going to be an issue. It's running Clipper, so that means it's going to be running kind of fast. But it also means that we have the means to control its acceleration and control its speed by ways of pressure advance, using input shaper, leveling our bed appropriately, being able to level only or not level, but being able to probe a mesh over a certain portion of this bed. So, you know, even though it's a gigantic bed and it's going to be likely warped in some way or extremely unlevel or untrammed, we'll be able to only probe a small portion of that bed and still maintain great print quality, even though it's huge. And Clipper offers that to us. So smart inclusion on their part to make this a Clipper-ready 3D printer. This thing is... All right. When it's all together, it's very heavy. Jeez Louise. Okay. 4 more. These are 5x35 screws, so they take a little bit to get in there. I apologize. Could have wore knee pads for this stream because the floor ain't good to me. But I'm excited about this one. The testing I've seen on it, the few videos and scraps on the internet I've seen on this, doesn't look bad. It looks somewhat promising. It's just scary because it's a huge printer that's doing big things from a company that's not known for doing any of those. So we have to take everything with a grain of salt. But so far, the construction of this, and me and B. Cuddy from the Discord, Brian, we saw this at East Coast Rep Rap Fest this year. And I was impressed by the size, and I was impressed by the quality then, but we didn't get to see it print. It wasn't printing. There was just a dude standing next to it. He wasn't even supposed to be there. But it was cool to see it because it kind of put me at ease. I had already pre-ordered this. I had to pre-order this sometime before October. I got it on sale, the pre-order sale. I think this is a $800 printer now. I probably got it for $600 for the pre-order sale, something like that. So I had already pre-ordered it, so I was kind of worried about my purchase. Then I saw it in person, not printing, but saw it, and you know, the quality looked good. Everything looks nice. Everything feels solid. The axes moved very nice, very quietly. So we'll see. There's only you have to do a lot right for a 500 by 500 by 500 bed slinger to work out. You have to do a lot right. One step in that is Clipper, in my opinion. Another step in that is doubling up the motors on certain axes, and they did that here for the Y and for the Z. And then the third part, a little bit of luck. You really got to get lucky for this thing to be good. But it looks like they've taken their time on it, and I appreciate that. So, like I was saying, after we get this top gantry in, we're going to put the struts on the back, and that's going to hopefully stabilize the Z-axis even further. And then we'll probably pop the cover off the hot end. Where is this thing? We'll probably pop the cover off the hot end, take a look under the hood. We're using a proximity sensor for a probe. So it's not a BL Touch, it's not a CR Touch. It's not a probe that's going to deploy and retract. It just checks the proximity of the bed, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. That's what the Comgrow KLP1 uses as well, and it's just as accurate. Okay. Now, one thing I did notice is there's no plate to cover these screws once they're screwed in. Nothing really bad about that. It would be nice if we could cover it with something. Yeah, I was saying earlier, I gotta wear knee pads. This ain't like for the faint of heart, this printer. Okay, just go back around one more time and tighten these guys down. So this is what I'm talking about here. Like the space that we can get to the screws. It'd be nice if they gave us something. I mean, I'm gonna print something, of course. Probably some sort of carbon fiber thing. Looks nice, just to cover that space so it doesn't collect extra filament or dust and get in there and stuff. Just something like that. Who knows? There might be something in the box that I never looked at. Okay, that is now installed. Where's our book? I believe the struts are next. Next, the struts. So the support base is not left or right specific, meaning we can put them on either side, and they get installed with 5x18 screws. 4 on each side. Oh my God, another 8 screw job. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. They gave me 2 extra. That's ominous. Struts are going on. Again, here are the struts. If you don't meet John, I know you weren't here for the struts. Is it on rails? Yeah, these are all linear rail. I'm not going to lie to you. It's something. It's not. It might be a belt. There's no wheels at all. So it's got to be on rails, but everything is covered behind this, the X-axis gantry cover. So I have no idea. There's no belt. It's got to be rails. There's no wheels at all, so what does that tell you, obviously? Unless there's wheels on the inside that are gripping up and down, which doesn't make sense. So I would imagine this is all rails. Ooh, extruder feels nice. Okay, so let's continue here. Oh, you know what? This is going to actually cover the back side, so that's nice. So we don't have to worry about that. For those little screw holes I was talking about, the strut will cover the back side, so we don't have to worry. Just got to worry kind of about the front ones. And these are really heavy duty struts. Like, they're not messing around, which is a great sign. I said it earlier, but I mean, I know you weren't here for it, John, I don't think. They feel heavy and they feel well machined. So definitely puts my mind at ease. What's the first print we're going to do with this? That's a good question. Ain't going to be a benchy. Probably going to be some sort of small cube or clipper size thing. I don't know. I don't want to go huge with it, obviously, because I want to do it while we're watching it. I think so. Usually a 20-minute print is what I aim for. We can do our final thoughts with it. And then I'll probably print something overnight or during the day once I feel comfortable letting this thing print on its own. And I'll share it to the Discord and to Instagram and all those things so everyone can see exactly what this is capable of. Maybe this is a printer for you. Maybe you're looking to print gigantic things. If you have a really small family, maybe you can print really small furniture. I would love to do that. But I don't think this is quite big enough. That Elegoo printer, though, oy, that one is. Come over here. The Orange Gigastorm. That is, I think, 800 by 800 by 1,000 size build volume. That one definitely wouldn't fit in my basement. But that one looks awesome. I reached out to Elegoo just to see. And they never returned my email, so I won't be getting that. Because if I could spend money on one of them, I mean, I only had money to spend on one of them, probably not that. That was probably out of my price range. It was around $1,200. I bought this because at the time there was no Elegoo Orange Gigastorm, whatever they call it. But I don't know. I'm not sure when the release date on that is either. Probably sometime next year, obviously. So I wanted to get this thing going. Make some gigantic busts or something like that. If you are a patron of Eastman, or if you know who Eastman is, he's a modeler. A lot of his designs are on printables. He makes awesome busts. Most of the busts you see back here, I mean, I think all of them are from Eastman. I'm on this, right? So like this Nosferatu bust is one of his most recent ones. They're awesome. They're detailed. They're really cool. And that's what I can't wait to make on here, one of the awesome giant busts. He just released a Juggernaut model today. It looks sick. So that might be one of the first ones that gets printed on here. We'll see. Probably a ton of filament. All right. So our struts for the Z-axis have been taken care of. Cable drag chain. Now they're just showing us the following are corresponding points for installation. Let's read this together. Kind of just showing us where the cable drag chain goes. So we need M3x6 screws. Here they are, M3x6, A and B. The following are the corresponding points for the installation position of this. It just sits up there, right? Or are they making this seem like it's complicated? Lay the drag train down on the right as shown. Use two M3x6ers to install drag chain at the end A, right there. Let's hit you with this webcam view. This thing is really heavy. Okay, so it wants us to lay this drag chain. First we have to cut this tie. And now we're going to lay the cable chain. Right along here. Right along here. And the M3x6 screws are how we do it. So they have the cable chain made for us already, which is another smart idea of them, by Comgrow. It definitely cleans this up a lot. If you don't have one of these little hex boxes, if you're still using your hex wrenches, I really suggest you get something like this. I think I bought this on sale on Amazon. It's night and day what you can do with these. This thing is broken. The head's kind of stripped, I guess because it's so cheap. But if you're going to be doing a lot of work on your 3D printers, if you own a 3D printer, you're going to be doing a lot of work on them. So I would recommend getting yourself a nice screwdriver set like that. It'll just make everything so much easier on you. Because while the little Allen keys and stuff work nicely and they get in, for some jobs they're even better because they kind of get in where this screwdriver might not be able to. This is way easier and way faster for a lot of things. And the dexterity you get from it is definitely going to be wanted when certain printers you can't get in there. And this thing gets right in, whoop, and you can just do your thing. All right, so that's the beginning of the cable drag chain. Bend the drag train to the left. We have to come up and around to the left. Use two more M3x6s to attach it to the top of the Gantry. And then the cable clamp should be shown. And then there's a clamp to connect the cable at the bottom. Okay. And those are M3x30s. Thanks for changing that up. So these are M3x6s still, right? These are our M3x6. Does it have Wi-Fi incorporated? Yes. Crowley used to use those probes also, much less precise than BL. Oh, sorry, Franger, I didn't see your comment, because this printer is taking me all over the basement. But yeah, I mean, the Prox probes, I've only just started using them, so if you tell me they're less reliable, I'll believe you. I haven't had too much experience, but so far my experience with them have been fine. Does this have Wi-Fi? Yes. Because it runs Clipper, this should be probably one of the first things we'll do, I have to imagine, is set up our Wi-Fi network. And this will have all Wi-Fi printing. We'll be able to talk to this printer through our local wireless network. And then we're going to eventually, probably not today, but we will add Octo Everywhere to this. And Octo Everywhere will let us talk to our printer from anywhere we are in the world, which means, you know, if we start a print, especially on something like this, which is very important, prints are going to be finished in 3 hours. We're doing a gigantic bust. Might be, you know, 24 hours, could be over a day. So you leave to work, you go to a party, you're going to dinner with people. You sneak to the bathroom, you can check your phone, and you can see a live view of your printer, because we can also hook a webcam up to this. So that's really good. And God forbid, or heaven forbid, the print is not doing well, it fell off, your hot end starting to spew out filament, you can save the filament, and you can save your hot end by canceling the print right then and there. So that's huge, huge benefit to us. Now we're going to the cable clamp at the bottom, and that's the M3 by 30s. So the cable clamp, it should be like the second picture. Well, the grammar in this isn't the best, but whatever. All right, so where is this cable clamp that they speak of? This is an accelerometer. Is it on here? I don't see this cable clamp. So we're supposed to clamp the cable down at the... Oh, it's supposed to be in a pack somewhere. All right. Oh, here it is. Just wasn't looking hard enough. This is the cable clamp. This is really just fixing the cable in place to the side of the X-axis gantry. M3 by 30s. So let's do that. And then I think it's the screen, and then I think we're printing. But we can look at, the filament spool holder too, but that should be 2 seconds. And I think that we should also look at the hot end. Take a look at that and just see what they have under the hood, as we've been saying. So look at this, very clean setup. I'll do a whole overview after I get this in. Super clean setup for a gigantic printer like this. It looks nice. You know, they've added the cable chain. They didn't do what like Creality might do, not to say anything bad about them, or just, another 3D printer that's trying to boast big build volumes and not really care. They didn't just give you the cables and said, all right, have fun. They gave you a cable chain, and they gave you a way to manage that cable chain. So they definitely covered a lot of the bases that maybe that would have been thought of after the printer was out there and the first iteration of people got hold of it. So this still moves, but it's stable in place. So now look, it's like the cable chain runs all through here, around and to here. So this can move all here, and the cable chain is going to maintain itself on our X-axis gantry. That's really nice. We don't have a sloppy wiring we have to worry about. So very cool. Chewy approves. Yeah, they include a polycarbonate sheet, Colin. Look at this thing. Look at this thing. It still feels funny holding it. This thing is huge. This is like, this is like a chalkboard. It's gigantic. So it's on a flexible sheet. It is what, so it's PC. It's the common Creality beds. When they come out of the factory, that's what they have. I prefer PEI, but we're never gonna find a PEI bed sheet like that big. That's the problem with this. We're only buying bed sheets from Comgrow now, which kind of stinks, but that's just the nature of a printer that is so unique. Okay, now we are going to do the mounting of the touch screen. That is what that other piece of metal we saw was earlier that I was questioning. This piece of metal, and here's the screen. Again, very nice screen, 7-inch screen with this sci-fi-esque border around it. The screen has to be big. If the screen was small, it would really look funny. M4 by 10s is what we're doing here. M4 by 10s. Yeah, exactly. So not only does the cabling look nice, but it means they're not going to be getting ripped apart. It's going to be a lot more comfortable on them, a lot more fragile, as you said. All right. So how we're doing this now is we're going to put it on. Mount the screen first. So we're mounting the screen off the printer onto this mounting bracket. And it's just 3 screws that hold this in. I'll show you once I'm finished. If I am finished. Probably should get the right hex bit. I lost one, so let's hope it's not that. Okay. So I've been under the weather for like, it feels like a week and a half, 2 weeks. I don't know why. I don't really have any like sickness to say. I'm having these headaches that are come and gone, getting this congestion, and yesterday everything just caught up to me. I was going to stream last night, and I was excited to stream this particular stream last night, but everything hit me. I got home, I took like a nap for an hour, which I never do, and I was just so worn down. But I'm dying to look at this printer, so I wanted to do it today. I wanted to do it as soon as possible, so today is the day. So everyone that is here, thank you so much for joining me. This is impromptu. I'm still getting a hang of streaming. Here is the touch screen. I'm still getting a hang of this whole streaming thing. It's going to get better. It's going to improve. We're going to do some giveaways on the stream very shortly. Not only filament is probably the biggest giveaway, but we might be giving away a printer. Colin, though, I will say this, and someone else was from the UK. I apologize. I don't think I could ship Adrian. Shipping across the pond, I have never done it, so I'm not really sure what's all involved, especially pricing-wise. So I have a feeling a lot of these giveaways are going to be continental United States, or just the United States, and maybe Canada. But I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my diligence before I do anything like that, because I want to have anyone that's overseas that's watching this, giving their time for me. I appreciate that. You all should be involved too. So I'm going to do my research and try and include as many people and as many zip codes as I can. Does it look similar to the Sonic Pad? I don't know. I don't own one. But yeah, I have to imagine it probably does. Sonic Pad is Creality. Comgrow is sort of that branch of Creality or Creality resellers. So if it's not a direct copy, they're probably using a lot of the stylization. Okay, this is a little loose. So I don't use a clipper screen all that often. I've been using it more with the KLP1, the King Room, because it came with one. I don't dislike it. I'm not against it. It's actually not too bad. I do prefer my phone still, I think, because it's just always available. All right, this should go, I assume, right here. And what screws are we using? M5 by 10s. All right, so Comgrow keeps deking me on these screw sizes, so I appreciate that, Comgrow. Okay. Should we go to the webcam? We're just going to mount this right on the side. Two mounting screws. Not sure if you can see those. Look at that screw in a second. So getting to these might be hard. Slide out. No. Very simple. This whole setup has been very easy. Obviously, I'm talking the whole time and lollygagging, doing all these things. But if we go back over what we just did, we put the gantry on. We affixed the cables, and now we're putting the screen on. We're going to put the filament spool holder on. That's kind of it. You know, I love that. A year and a half ago, 2 years ago maybe, we were still, assembling these printers piece by piece by piece. And now, basically built for us. I can sort of hear what background music is on right now. It almost sounds like a lullaby. So I hope you're not sleeping. So usually these little parts are like the hardest thing to put in. You can't see where you're going. There we go. Now we have ourselves a pretty nice big clipper screen that we can access everything from our printer on. I see. And we were talking earlier about the hex screwdriver versus just the hex tools. This is a great example. If I had the little hex screwdriver with the 90-degree bend at the end, I would have been on this thing for a long time. So I have two connections right here, USB-A and audio jack. Assuming they both go into here, but let's have them tell me. They didn't tell me, so we're not doing it yet. All right, now the filament spool holder, 5x18s, two 5x18s. Is there other side of screen or just one side? Do you mean is there like a a side on the back of here? No, there's no side on the back of it. It's just that front side. Okay, filament spool holder. This thing is big. Probably shouldn't move it like that. Very stable though. Okay, we talked about it earlier. Filament spool holder though, it's actually really nice. Bearings on both sides. Bearing, solid metal. Very, very nice. Only one spot to put it. Right here, there is some threads, so makes it easy for you. No guesswork. And I mentioned it earlier too, but the knobs you see here on the top axis, that is to move the Z up, the X up and down the Z. So to increase the height or decrease the height manually. You know, obviously, once it's running, we could just have the machine do it. But if we wanted to increase or decrease it, we just use these knobs, turn them, and it. We used it earlier actually to get the screwdriver in. And we don't have to worry about getting them out of sync. One of the things I did mention was this has two Z motors, one for either side, and more importantly, the stepper drivers, that's the driver that controls their movement, is independent. So a lot of times we see one stepper driver with two motors, and everything the stepper driver says is said to both motors. So you have two motors that are moving it, which is great, but one stepper driver, one brain is telling it what to do. For this, we have two stepper motors, two stepper drivers, or stepper brains, meaning every brain, the left and the right, can say something different, which means we can manually move or automatically via clipper move the sides of the gantry up and down independent of one another, and we can get it so it's perfectly level. And we use our probe to do that. Probe will take measurements from the right side, and then it will go to the left side and take probing measurements. It will then take those numbers, and it will start to adjust the independent axes, the independent stepper motors, and we'll get that gantry so it's perfectly level. So we don't have to do any of the measuring and the adjustment and the loosening and pushing, all going to be done for us. That's an awesome tool that, you know, not a lot of boards, not a lot of main boards are capable of because they only have single Z stepper drivers, but this has those dual independent stepper drivers. So very, very cool stuff. Very happy about that. I mean, is there a mount on the other side? On that side? No. Only on one side. Let me double check. Yeah, no, John, there's only a mount on that one side. I mean, does it mean that you couldn't mount something there? I mean, we're 3D printers, right? We can make anything up there probably. I can make this mount as a clip and clip it on top, definitely. This might even be magnetic. It's not, all right, it's aluminum. Never mind. We'll just clip it. We'll use pressure. Okay, connecting the wires. X motor, X limit switch, extruder kit, and the touchscreen. We'll start with the touchscreen because we're already over here. So we don't know what hot end. That's a great question. I have no clue what hot end this uses. I know it uses likely volcano style nozzles. So once we get this thing together, we're going to take that the shroud off and we're going to take a look at the hot end. That's one of the things I am curious about myself. We know it uses a proximity probe, but I don't know exactly. I have to imagine it's going to be some their version of some hot end. You know, this is Congrow's first printer, Comgrow. You know, I'm assuming they're not going crazy with innovation here. Probably a normal size heatsink. It's probably going to look like the Sprite extruder if I had to guess. Okay, either of these three. So we have 3 USB plugins on the back of this touchscreen. Where is it? And we're allowed to plug this into any of them. So I'm going to go ahead and choose. I feel like I'm a mechanic under the hood of something here. All right. So it's weird because I don't have enough cable to actually plug into them. It's just not enough. Is it at the bottom? All right. It's at the bottom. So there's USB cables in the back and at the bottom front here. I would love to show you guys what it looks like underneath here, but I just don't think it's possible. Just angle-wise. So I'm going to plug this in the bottom. And then there's an audio jack as well. I don't know where that goes. Let's find out. apparently there's a DC audio input in here too. All right, so they gave us like just enough cable to manage this, right? I'm not sticking on here. They gave us just enough cable, which is kind of insane. But whatever, I mean, it's literally just enough, so it makes it nice and clean. Oh wow, you had the Neptune 4 Max. I feel like Colin, if Colin's still here, I know Colin has a Neptune, I don't remember which one. And I have heard some mixed things about the Neptune, the 4. I was talking to someone, even through YouTube comments, where they had issues bed leveling it, or trying to get clipper on, or trying to get a webcam was another problem. Someone was in the Discord asking. Me and Brian saw that at East Coast Rep Rap this year, and it looked like a nice printer, but I didn't see much more than it printing. This looks cool. So far, the build quality, very nice. So, you know what? Maybe this is a nice option for you. That's the whole point of this stream. It's the whole point of the eventual review or the videos or whatever I do with this thing, just so other people know what this thing is like. Wow, we're gonna actually hook this accelerometer up. I'm very excited. One more Chewbacca sip. We need it. In case anyone was wondering. The local brewery here in Long Island. And they make these, they make everything, but this is an IPA. It's a very nice one. Okay, more wiring, and then we're gonna open up the shroud. We're gonna take a look. Let's see. X motor, X limit switch, and the extruder. All this wiring is going to be done right over here. So here are my Z connections. Where do these go? So here's the wiring. I think we can all take a look at this together. Okay, X motor. This is the X motor right here, covered in this cool little grill, which is, you know, something. So the motor connection is right here at the side. You really can't see it, but it looks like a normal 6-pin connector. So this one would go in here, labeled X. Clips right in. That is clipped in, and now the X limit switch, which is already on here. The limit switch is built in, so everything's built into the rail. So the switch wiring is coming from the back, meaning it's built into the actual rail. We just connect it. Obviously, we're going to connect it down here. So LX goes to LX. This is actually a little sloppy. Should I bring it around the back? No, it's not going to move anywhere, is it? I don't really like how that looks. This is going to pull, right? Whatever. Keep it like that for now. Move it around the back. Make a note of that just in case something happens. No, this isn't going to move at all. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Very smooth movement. We talked about that earlier. Extruder kit. So I know that it's around here somewhere. Three, extruder kit. How do they expect me to do this? So it's actually, the cable is baked into the cable chains, obviously. Right here. So this is the extruder. I'm not sure how we're expected to take this thing out and then clip it in. Don't tell me I have to open these up. This is the last thing I want to do. What am I missing here? Is it supposed to go the whole route, you think? And I just didn't get it? So I guess we'll do that. So my extruder cable, the end of the cable is stuck at the middle. I suspect that's not supposed to be where it is. So we're going to move it all the way along to the end where it probably should have been in the first place. And then pop it out and connect it. And you know what we're going to do? To make this even easier on us, we're going to undo the clip. That we added on top here. So if you were to get this printer, I would say make sure you do this before you tighten it down. This is a clip on top that's meant to maintain the cabling, but the cable should be out of it. Otherwise, you have to snake it through like I'm going to do right now, and it's not easy to do when it's bent in half. So this is my fault, just with the jostling. Although I suspect everyone that buys this printer is going to have the same issue, just because it gets jostled in the box. So I wish there was like a zip tie at the end, maybe, that Comgrow told you to snip. So that it still kept the extruder out, but you didn't have to do this. Not a big deal, but... And again, I guess this isn't really a beginner-style printer where newbies are going to be getting this sort of printer. This is definitely something that you know, you have to have been in the game a while, I guess, if you're going to be into this sort of printer. Or you'll have to know a little bit about it if you want to be into it. Okay, so I'm going to plug this in. And then we're going to, so we have a good view on this. So it's just a normal, I think 24 or 26 pin plug. I think it's a 24 pin plug. It plugs right in like that. And then we can, and we'll get this cable back along there. We have good movement. And now it'll stay in place. And I can always give it a little, it looks like it's snagged a little, which I don't like to see, so I'm going to give it a little more slack. But we'll just get this cable guide in place. There you go. So now it is in place. The cable is connected. Our extruder is connected. Our X motors are connected. I believe those are the last connections need to be made. Although I see a couple for the Z's, and I don't see any motor for the Z. Accelerometer. The accelerometer is an optional module, which we won't do right now. And that goes, the accelerometer will go, according to this, it'll be mounted right here. There's 2 screw holes right there, and that's where it'll be mounted, the accelerometer. We'll do that at a later time, but I do like that. I mean, I love that they included that. I didn't think they did. I'm curious if they included a mounting hole for the bed. It looks like there is some sort of, this front left screw right here, it's extra silver, as you can see it. That is unique to the bed. So maybe that's where the mount is for the bed, for the accelerometer, because we'll have to actually do accelerometer readings for the bed. Oh, it tells me right here. Oh, they're already way ahead of me. Y-axis. Unscrew one of the screws here on the hot end, on the hotbed. Oh, so one of these screws in the back. Very cool. So usually these screws are made to be able to put the PEI or PC build plate in place, and they just stay right there. It's a great spot to put it, but you can also take these out, and then we can mount the accelerometer right there too. So that's really nice, and I suspect they gave us enough wiring to lead the accelerometer there, which is great. So Comgrow, again, has thought of it. Yeah, I'm very surprised that they added that. I wasn't expecting them to add that, so good on them. All right, now we have to just do the Z motors, and then we're done. So Z1 and Z2, I'm not going to lie to you, I don't see where the motors actually are. Oh, here they are. They're very hidden. So I don't know if you're going to be able to even see. I hope I'm not giving you under here, between the space of the bed and the base, there's a small space where this very small connector is going to go. So it's definitely a different type of Z connector. It's like a 12-pin connector or something like that. So one on that side, and then one on this side. It's very well hidden. I'll give them that. Okay, so now our Z motor is connected. The dual Y motor is already connected. Ow, my knees. You know what? That's the absolute question. What kind of clipper is this running? In general, it's usually some jumbled clipper. The Quiddy has the jumbled clipper, which I don't like. The Comgrow KLP1 that I just unboxed, that seems to have regular clipper on it, which is great. I'm hoping that's what they did. I really hope they didn't do any sort of mishmash where it's gated and it's all messed up by their own stuff. If that's the case, not the best, but still it's clipper. But I'm hoping it's not the case. So we can do all these different upgrades. But as long as we can get root access to this, which I'm hoping we can, we should be fine. All right, so all the axes are connected. I'm going to make sure that we have the right voltage set. And where do they keep that? Where's the voltage? Here it is. And it's set to 230. Got to set it to 115. All right, voltage is at 115. I think we are ready. Really? So it's real clipper? I mean, that's the ideal, right? Real clipper screen. I understand how companies want to try and protect their users by like giving you a few gates to mess things up. But at the end of the day, give people clipper. They know what clipper is. Give them, give them a little handhold here or there. But if they want to make it their own, they can. Whereas with the Quiddy, it's really not that capable. We can still make it work because clipper allows us to do that, but we just have to jump through a few extra hoops. Okay, I think we're ready to plug this thing in. I'm very excited. I'm sure the plug is going to be super small. It's going to be like a foot-long cord. We're not going to be able to plug it anywhere. Oh, wait. Let's look at the hot end. Let me just see how long this plug is. It's really not that long. I kind of want it to be like 6 feet. It's like 4 foot. Where is the power adapter? You'd think it would be back here, right? We're going to take that hot end off, though, before we actually do turn this thing on. Oh, it's right here on the side. That's fine. I think I can run an extension to it. But let's take a look at this hot end. What's worrying me right now is I don't see any screws or any way to remove it. All right, 1 screw, 2 screws. Okay, we can do it. So the bed is so big I can't really get the camera that close. I guess that goes without, that's just par for the course. Another great example of why these screwdrivers are great. Get a little more clean access to this. I knew that was going to be too big. So let's all guess. My guess is this is a copycat of a Sprite extruder. That's my guess. Going to have a very small stepper, BMG clone style, obviously. I think it's a 6.5 to 1 gear ratio, I read. Okay. Okay. So this just came off. It's got a plug, and I'm sure it's supposed to be plugged into something, but it's not plugged. Oh, so that's just the LED light. So I guess you can plug in the LED if you want. So that's cool. It means the shroud is the shroud. It doesn't have a fan connected to it. We could make our own shroud and do nothing, or we could leave it off completely if we really wanted to. Let's take a look. Let's take a closer look. I really can't get you any closer, I'm sorry, unless I... there's really not a lot I can do. This bed is just so big. Okay, so really small pancake motor. And when I say really small, I mean really small. Where did I put the screw? Proximity probe. We have a breakout board on the side. Very small. BL extruder. Very small. Let me take this sock off a little bit. We got like fans everywhere. There's a fan behind. There's 3 cooling fans. One is behind the hot end back here, and then there's 2 on the sides. So it looks like volcano style heat block, which is that vertical style heat block. They've put a ton of thermal paste everywhere. So it looks as though to be a volcano style hot end, which is cool. I mean, a lot of them are moving off of that, but it means it's all metal, and it means it's going to have a high flow rate, so I like that. Also means it should be easier to find parts for. All right. I mean, not a lot going on here. I love these wheels. I don't know why. I love printing them. I love being able to print them to our own design. Ed, what did you miss? Well, we're halfway through. We're finished with the setup. We're finished with a single IPA. Now we're going to start turning this bad boy on. You didn't miss much. We just uncovered the extruder. I mean, what's going on here? I don't really know. Filament runout sensor, small pancake stepper, very sleek extruder, breakout with everything we need. 2 cooling fans on the side, 1 cooling fan in the back, which I think is a 4010. Volcano style hot end appears to be. Prox probe. It's cluttered. I don't want to start messing around with these things yet. I want to actually see what it does. So it also has an LED strip on the hot end that was not plugged in. We're going to have to find out where that goes. It's got to be an open socket on this breakout. This is like the hardest to manage like movement stream ever because this thing's so big. I don't see any open plugs where this would be put. Oh wait, I see it. I see it. I'm a little worried about the wiring for the heating cartridge. Not gonna lie to you. Okay, so let's hook up the light here. This ain't gonna be easy. This printer is a test of endurance more than anything else. This angle for you all probably isn't good, and I apologize. This doesn't want to go in. It's just a strip of LEDs. I'm not really, really that worried about it at the moment. But it should work, right? All right. I'm not messing with it. Something's definitely wrong there. It didn't go in easy. It came right out. So we'll have to look into that. And yes, this John, this gave us a 0.6, a 0.8, and an additional 0.4 nozzle. And the thought or the assumption is that this is a 0.4 nozzle to begin with. This fan shroud does absolutely nothing, meaning it's holding nothing besides cover the hot end, which is fine. Talked about that a second ago. We can make our own if we really wanted to, make this colorful or more colorful. In the interim, I've lost a screw for the shroud, and it's right here. So it appears to be all volcano style stuff, at least the hot parts, which is good. I mean, this does boast a very high flow ratio, which of course is great because we're going to use a larger nozzle, yada, yada, yada. And hey, look at this gigantic mouse pad. And all that stuff. Okay, this is ready to get plugged in and turned on, which I'm excited about. Then we can walk through the clipper screen. We can try and get a print. I have an Orca Slicer profile that Comgrow released. I created one and Comgrow released one, which is probably better because they know their acceleration is better than I do. Let's get power to this. So I wanted it to have like a 10-foot cable because it's a huge printer, but it doesn't. It has about a 4-foot cable with the standard cable. So we're going to have to repurpose this. Okay, this should reach. I mean, I have nowhere else to put this besides the floor, so the floor is where it's staying right now. Jesus. Okay. Are you ready? Yeah, getting to everything looks like a pain. The wiring on there was like compact. Everything was on everything else, and the wiring was stretched to the breaking point, basically, almost. So that's a little scary, but we'll see. You know, eventually I'm going to take it all off. I'm going to open it up and find out, but I'd like to get a few prints in before I start going digging my hands in. The first startup, are we all ready for this? We'll go to this smaller one. All right, here we go. I mean, it's pretty quiet. It's lit up though, so it is doing something. But I wasn't sure what I was expecting, some sort of grand grand entrance or something. But here we go. We have the Comgrow sign starting up. It's going to be hard to get the lighting on this just right for you all, and I apologize. See signs compared to Quiddy signs? Yeah, compared, the Quiddy is big. The Quiddy's really big. And this compared to the Quiddy is ludicrous. I mean, first of all, the Quiddy is right here, right? Like, I'm standing next to it. This thing is, I could put it and it would still have a moat around it just for the build volume. So we're going to do some print comparisons. This is really big. It's really cool. Yeah, you see all those screw mounts? That's, I mean, we got mounts on mounts. So what I did notice earlier was there's mounts here that that are embedded screws, and I'm not sure if that's going to be used for bed leveling. I don't know why they did that, or that's just, my knees are killing me on this thing. That's just a secondary pad. So there's 2020 extrusion under here that is running on. I'm not really sure. I mean, there's screws everywhere, so I don't know what the heck's going on, to be quite honest with you. Okay, so we're starting. You know, I should have detached the screen so I could show you all. Hey, nothing wrong with letting the kid get an extra long nap. They need it, trust me. All right, so let's see if I can get a good angle on this for everyone. All right, language, which is great. If you were here for the King Rune, this is going to hurt, right? If you were here for the King Rune stream, you knew that the language was Chinese right out of the gate on the Clipper screen, which is a problem because you can't do anything. So this lets us check English. Next, time zone. America. New York. Oh, good. That was easy. Next. So we set up our time zone. Let me turn the lights off, probably. All right, I'm going to connect to my internet, to my Wi-Fi. I don't want you all stealing my password. So give me a second. You're just going to get, like, the back of my bald head for 1 second. So it comes, the Wi-Fi screen has all the different Wi-Fi that are available to it. And then it gives us a password screen that you can just obviously simply enter your password. It's a normal prompt that you would see anywhere else. My password is 200 characters long, so just hang tight. Joking. Just put it in wrong the first time. All right, we're attempting to connect. We are connected. And that's that. We can go back. So I was thinking about the same thing as far as the bed size goes. Finding bed sizes that are PEI that are larger than like 320 by 320 is not easy. You have to go some of the Voron guys because they do the, is it the Trident that can, I mean, I think a lot of them can go infinitely large. But you have to go to some of the Voron websites that, or at least do products for Voron to get like those large build sizes in PEI. So we're connected. Connect network. We have it. I have my IP address. Ooh, they gave us the IP. I don't know if you can see it. So it's 0.173 is what we need to know. Please, everyone, remember that. It's going to be on the test later because I'm going to ask you that. I got to get off my knees. All right, next. Let's see. Leveling calibration. To achieve the best printing work, please follow the steps below to calibrate the machine. Operate Z calibration setting offset. Operate bed level to adjust the flatness. Operate bed mesh. Press finish. So we have Z calibration, bed leveling, and bed mesh. Not necessarily the order that I would do it. But whatever, what do I know? Okay, so it's a clipper screen. I mean, we knew what it was going to be. Is there really a Tron? I mean, Tronxies get like, they just do whatever. They had like a 300, they're like, yeah, just make it a little bigger. Send it, ship it. Okay. So here are the various menus that we could go through for the LED, not working at the moment. Should we home? Oh, wait a second. Please don't home. So if I don't want to home because my bed's not on and the proximity sensor will probably crash. Oh, wait, so they already have Z tilt. That's cool. So they have Z tilt right here, which we were talking about earlier. It has independent Z steppers. So I'm curious to dive into the configuration files and see exactly what they've included and how they've included it. I want to see what macro. Do I really want to see what macros are involved here? Let's see. So the macros are always crazy. Pause. Actually, so this is not bad. Usually the macros are completely wild. This is like a nice clean set of macros. Usually it's every G code you've ever heard of in your life is a macro on these printers. This has look, clear last file. It seems relevant. LED on, LED off. So I like that. So far everything's been pretty clean about this. So I think we should go. Let's start leveling it and stuff like that. Let me put the bed sheet back on. And in case you all are wondering, I think Hien I'm pronouncing that right. You weren't here for this enormous bed sheet. Here's the bed sheet. It's appalling. I mean, it's ludicrous. This thing is gigantic. So we're going to put this bad boy on. And now we're going to home. Let's see. It sounds pretty nice. I mean, it's quiet. Oh, never mind. I was going to say it's quiet, but I don't know why. So all that cabling up there is very nice, nicely done. It stays along that X-axis gantry. Man, this thing is huge. All right, is that going to be a problem? So the way in which I put this limit switch may or may not be a problem. Right back here. It shouldn't though, right? This I thought was the cleanest way to do it. Okay. So we're homing. Yeah, I mean, I could serve cheese and meat all on this one. This is a whole charcuterie I could put on here. All right, that's the first home. It's alive! All right. I need a drink update. I'm already done. Let's take a 2-minute break. We're going to get more Chewbacca. Chewbacca needs to get filled. If you weren't here earlier, this is what we're running. This is a local brewery from here. Drink responsibly, please, if you are drinking. Especially if your kids are napping. Maybe you shouldn't be drinking at all. Then we're going to jump on Orca. We're going to jump on the fluid interface. I think that's what we do. Hey, Zoomy. I did miss you, and I'm glad you're here. For the largest printer we've ever seen. That's not a bad idea. Like an actual like cheese, like we put the meat around the side and cheese goes through and drenches it. Not bad. All right. The side angle of me is depressing, to say the least. So let's get off of it. Let me get... Are we still hearing music? No. We need music. Okay. What was that number I told everyone to remember? I'm joking. I remembered. Okay, it's main sale. How dare they? Okay, let's all take a look. Gonna use manual Z-column leveling wheels or just let Z-tilt. I'm doing Z-tilt's gonna do everything for us. So independent steppers, independent motors. We're gonna let this thing Z-tilt. We're gonna let this do as much work as we possibly can. Yeah, imagine a farmer of these things just printing out. I only know what. I'm not even sure what you would print out with these. 0.173, Colin. Very close though, and I appreciate it. All right. Can you all see me? I think you can, right? Okay, good. All right, so it's main sale, which is different. Usually it's fluid, whatever though. I don't think it's that much. I'm not familiar with as familiar with main sale as I am with fluid, so I'm gonna have to apologize. So let's see. Actually, it's an MKS Pi. So can we get root access to this right away? Okay, so it's not root access, obviously, but we can get there. So we're logging into Kia, which helps us set everything up. Don't want to update now, it'll kill us. All right, so this is per user installation helper. So if we go to advanced, we'll be able to see, not advanced. So we could see, so fluid is installed. I'm curious what port it is on, although it really shouldn't matter, I suspect. I'm just more familiar with Fluid than I am with Mainsail, but I mean, they're all the same, right? I should get used to it. All right, so we probably have root access if I can log in like that. I would just log in as root with the same exact password, so that's perfectly fine. Okay. Back save. Where is our printer? All right, Crow's Nest. We can hook a webcam up to this almost immediately. Curious if it's going to be through the touch screen. I have to hook up the webcam. I didn't see any open USB ports on the frame or anything, so I might have to go under the bed. Everything appears to be in... Where's our printer.cfg? Oh, 10 of 13. Is this Mainsail? Come on, show me all of them. Oh, not the... Show me them all. We want to see all of them. There we are. All right, printer.cfg. Let's see. We're including a single file right up here. Pause, resume. We have an idle. Resonance, test, respond. So all our macros are in here. Our start print's in here as well. I mean, this is probably boring for everyone. I apologize. I'm just curious. Rather clean. I will say that. Very clean. Usually these are just scattered. There's Chinese characters everywhere, which is fine. But it's just like, it's almost very erratic. It's all over the place. This is very, very clean. They did a good job with this. And they have a single saved offset, so they did no accelerometer testing on this already or anything like that. The only saved values we have here is an offset. It looks like there's not even a bed mesh that's been saved here, which is perfectly fine. Doesn't matter. Probably means this wasn't tested at all. I'm going to save variables. I suspect that is getting called from Clipper Screen. So this is the other file that was being called or included in our printer.cfg. And these are just some of the macros that they've created. Probably in relation to Clipper Screen in some way. Worried about that. Pretty cool stuff. As far as very clean. Let's see if we can run Z-tilt first, yeah? So normally I'm used to having everything right here. And there it is, right? Z-tilt. Zing, who would have thought? Z-tilt right here. Click on it. Now you all can see what's happening there, right? All right, cool. John, if I knew you were familiar with Mainsail, I would have had you come over here and help me with this. Oh, is the CR10S the same size as this? 500? It'd be worth it. All right, so what's happening right now is it's probing either side of our bed. And it's getting readings with that proximity probe. And then it's adjusting. Trying to get you the best as I can here. So it's taking probing values of either side of the bed, and then it's using those independent motors to adjust the level of our gantry such that it is level on either side. So that's really cool. Back in the old days when we didn't have independent steppers, independent motors, we did it by hand. We'd have to like loosen the nuts behind one side and start lifting and dropping and doing all this thing. And then adjusting with like two different things of like size we put on either side. It just did it for us automatically, right? Amazing. Very exciting. So now we will just do a bed mesh, right? We're going to add camp onto this, Clipper's adaptive mesh. It's too big to not add Clipper's adaptive mesh. We have to. So let's do a single bed mesh and just see how fast it works. Where is there? Okay. So it looks like it's going to be is it a 12 by 12? Four of 20. So it's working pretty quickly. So what are we doing here exactly? What did we just do? We did Z-tilt, now we're doing a bed mesh. We're just making sure that our printer is kind of within values that we want. That's the best way I can put it. Oh, I'm on the main shot this whole time? Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to go here. Anyway, so what we're doing is, this is getting us a bed mesh. we leveled the gantry with the Z-tilt option, and now we're creating a bed mesh by probing it. That's it. And after that, we're going to do Z offset. I'm going to have to manually do that myself, which is just like we normally do with bed leveling. We used a paper note, or a Post-it note rather, to get some drag on it. And then that's kind of it. We got everything we need. We're going to add camp very quickly. And I know I'm actually a little excited, Zumi, that you're here, because people are afraid of Clipper because they think it's coding and all that stuff. And I know Feder's been doing a lot with Clipper. We're going to copy and paste most everything we do. So I'm going to literally add the adaptive meshing on here, and I'm going to copy and paste it directly from a different printer. So everything is just like compatible with everything else. Clipper is just its own device, and the printers are just the printers, and Clipper adapts to them. So we're going to copy and paste the adaptive mesh onto here. We're going to use that, and then we're going to get a printout. I know Ed loves benchies. Maybe we'll do a benchie. Maybe not. Yeah, have to add the adaptive mesh. Really no way to go about a bed this big without it. I'm curious to see, though, what this first bed mesh shows us, how far off it is. Yeah, how funny would that be if they did have a huge card like that? So, Heen, I don't know where you, how far you've missed or how much you've missed. This thing's really cool. I say that all the time, right? This is built very well. Everything on here is metal. Everything on here is like built well. Everything fit in place just like it should. It looks nice. It feels nice. It feels bulky. Nothing feels super cheap. I mean, the touchscreen is gigantic, obviously. 2 Y stepper motors, 2 Z stepper motors. This filament holder's got a bearing on it. I have a full spool of filament they gave us with this printer. It feels really well. It feels really good, I should say. Everything about this looks good. I haven't really seen anything besides the hot end when we took it off and it wasn't plugged in. I haven't seen anything that really worries me. Gotta add that adaptive mesh. All right. I'm telling you, your brain doesn't have to compute anything. It's all, listen, I'm not the brightest person on the earth. It's all copy and paste. That's what Clipper loves. Clipper is so simple. We can copy and paste different configs, different people's solutions to answers, and Clipper will just make it work for us. So it's really simple. I don't want anyone to fret about that. So, yeah, ain't no T-nuts on this. Let's take a look at what our bed mesh looks like. It's gonna be, yeah, all right, it's gonna be abysmal, right? It's only a 1mm variance, is that right? I don't know how to read this. My max is 0.03 and my min is 0.05. So the range is only 0.5, it's like 0.6. That's not bad at all. I'm shocked by that. I'm shocked by that. A bed this big, the minimum, or I should say, the farthest point, the highest point in the Z is only a deviation of 0.5 millimeter between the lowest point on a bed this big. I'm shocked. The Quiddy was like 0.8 as a variance. This bed looks horrible, right? But that's not that bad. I'm telling you, we're gonna make this thing work. It does look really bad though. Why does it look like that? Especially with a deviation like that. You know what though, we'll make it all work. The deviations are right here in the back of the bed, and then right here in the front of the bed. And the center of the bed and the middle of the bed is mostly concave, which is what we expect, right? But Clipper's adaptive mesh and purging protocol is going to help us with that. How do we do that? Well, let's figure it out right now. G-code files, no. Machine. All right, we have to adjust our start G-code. And they've hidden start G-code in printer.cfg, which I'm not a big fan of. I like keeping my macros, especially my cancel and my start, out. So I'm gonna cut and move this out of here. I like when it's cleaner. G-code macros here. Let's steal that. So we're cutting that out of here. There's no option to save and not restart. All right, now we're gonna add a file. I'm gonna call it macros.cfg. Creating this right now. We're gonna enter it, and we're gonna paste in everything that was just there. So that's the cancel print and the start print. So with Marlin or other 3D printers, we had start G-code we put in the slicer. Now our start G-code in the slicer is literally the words start print or cancel print, and then those words run everything underneath it. You don't need to know what it does. I mean, you know, for instance, G90, what does that do? Well, there's some English after it, absolute positioning. Kind of tells you what it does. So what we're going to do is we're going to change our start print such that it works better with Orca. And what I'm literally going to do right now is I'm going to steal it from my... Where am I going to steal it from? It's a good question. Everything's turned off. I think I want to steal it from the King Rune. I'm going to turn it on so you all can hear its loud fans. All right. So we're going to steal that from the King Rune. We're going to add adaptive meshing, which we can do from my Aquila, which is still on. Thank you, Octo Everywhere. Black Friday deal on Octo Everywhere, by the way. If you're going to, it's free, of course, to use. But if you wanted to be a supporter of Octo Everywhere and get some more features, get better bandwidth for webcam streams and stuff like that, now's the time to join because there's a Black Friday deal. We're going to do a video on Octo Everywhere very shortly. It's an awesome feature and very worthwhile. Okay, so I am copying the start print. Wait, no, that's what I'm doing. My adaptive meshing. So this is the file, the coding, if you want to say, for the adaptive mesh. Can you hear the King Rune start up behind me? It's so loud. We don't have to worry at all what it says. We're just literally going to copy that file. Download it. And then we'll go back up here. Now we're back in the MKS Pi, which we're going to rename very shortly. This is the T500. So where can I rename this? With Fluid, it's just like right there. Printer name, T500. T500, now we know what it is. Okay, let's add this file. Rename it because we don't want to get rid of all the garbage at the end. So it's called adaptivemesh.cfg. I'm doing this kind of quick and I apologize, but we're now going to make sure that we include that in our printer.cfg. Needs to be, it's case sensitive. You have to just like the file is written. So that means we will now pull that file into our printer.cfg, so it will know that it exists, and we will we'll now get the right start print from our King Rune. So now I'm in the front end of my King Rune KLP1 I just turned on. Probably can hear it in the background. I've been setting this up over the last few days. I really like it. It's worked really, really well. Copying the start print from that, and I'm going to literally paste it into the start print of our T500. We added that in a file called macros. It was very nice of them to include one, and I appreciate that, but no. I know he knows how to keystroke this out. I thought it was Control C, K, KC. It's not really doing it for me though. So this is the new one we're going to use. There's a way to comment this all out. When I say comment something out, it means anything after a pound sign or a comment sign will not be read by the 3D printer. So we use the comments or even these little semicolons to hide things from the printer that we don't want it to see. When you're testing stuff like I am kind of doing right now, it's a great tool. So we will now get rid of the old start print. This is our new start print that I've had many times before. Wait, this is not the right start print. What start print was this that we've copied? All right, start Orca print. Yeah, we'll keep it like that. I did that for the King Room stream, just to make it different. So this is a similar thing. We're just calling different variables in the start print. I'm going over this too quick, and I apologize. But we should have it all set up. We have to make sure that our macros are also included in our printer.cfg. Any file that we create that we want to be called or for our printer to know about, we include in printer.cfg. That is the end all be all. We will now save our configuration and restart. I don't know how to do that here. Think that was it? Okay. All right. Control plus slash. All right. Yeah, you're probably right. I think it's for fluid. It's like control and C and K. It comments everything. I don't know why. Okay. So we've added adaptive meshing. We homed it. We did everything but Z offset. I don't know if you want to see me do that. I might just do it live. We'll do it live. Insert that that GIF. No, I'll just do a Z offset real quick, and then we'll get our first print, and then we're done. I'm sorry we've been on for so long to get this first print. We're gonna do a Benchy for Ed. I know he wants it. Name her Betty? Yeah, I should name her Betty. Should probably give these things names, actually. Okay. Let's go back so y'all can see what we're doing. We're back on. We're live. We're at the dashboard. Now we're gonna do a little bit of Z calibration. Home malt. Let me get my Post-it note. All right, so we're doing a Z calibration. What is that? That's the difference between where the probe thinks 0 is and where our nozzle should be at 0. Right, that's another way of saying it. This is just the distance, the gap between the probe and the nozzle. That's all it is. So I don't see it as a button for me to hit. Wait a second. I don't see it as a button for me to hit here on main sail. So I'm just going to write probe calibrate. I'm not going to lie, I like fluid better because I'm used to it. All right, it's moving into position. Our print head moves into position after it probes. And now we're going to start adjusting it up or down to account for any gap between the nozzle and the hot ends. This is usually easy when I do it by myself. Having the camera angle and everything, I apologize. This is not easy to see. I'm now close enough where I can start doing this. Okay. Okay. I'm just looking, bringing the nozzle closer to the bed, looking for resistance. I'm starting to get it. This is of utmost importance, but I mean, all I gotta do is get it close because we're going to do a live one. Actually, I think what we'll do is we'll print in all 4 corners of this bed. Maybe not. I want Cam to do his job. Okay, that's good. So we have a decent decency offset. We're saving it. We're making sure that Clipper stores it for us, and then when we print, it will use it. But we're gonna do a live one as it first goes, just to make sure that it's all copacetic. All right, that's restarting. Let's jump to our, I know I can do it with Clipper screen. I'm trying to have everyone else see what we're doing as best I can, so I figured this screenshot was the best way to do it. But yeah, Clipper screen, we should be able to do everything through Clipper screen. I mean, all those, any macro we create, anything we create is accessible for us through Clipper screen. So I could run all that Z Well, detail definitely, but Pro Calibrate that I just did, I could have done that all through Clipper Screen right now, and I could have made all the adjustments through Clipper Screen while I did that. Clipper Screen is great, and it gives us the same availability as if we were on our laptop or our computer on that front end. So let's we'll slice a print now. So let's go to Orca. I've been using Orca for a while now. I really like it. It's got a ton of different features. The ability to calibrate a lot of things that Clipper wants and that Clipper needs. And I think the UI is really snappy. And they make frequent updates, actually. There was just an update, and in the most recent update, the T500 was added as a printer. The Comgrow T500 right here. Well, although I believe I might have made... Did I make... Yes, okay. So I made an adjustment to one of them. So here it is. Gigantic build size. What was the... All right, so I just made sure I used the same start G-code that I added already in. So that's what I did. I kept their NG code, which is fine. So it's interesting they have a start and an end print, and in the slicer that they provide, which is they provide a profile for Orca, they don't have a start and end print. They use the actual contents of those macros. Interesting. I don't believe I did anything else messing around with it. They have their max volumetric flow set to 30. If you don't know what max volumetric flow is, that's quite literally the speed at which melted filament can exit the nozzle. So that is usually what throttles our ultimate speeds. So machine speed is, actual speed, acceleration and speed, millimeters per second. That's machine speed. How fast can our hot end move and how fast can our hot end accelerate? Printing speed is different because printing speed has other factors. One of those factors that throttles printing speed is cooling. How fast can we cool our parts? And another one is max volumetric speed. How fast can we actually get filament out of our nozzle? That's a huge throttle. Like let's say our printer goes, infinitely fast and it accelerates at an infinite rate. Well, if I can't get filament to exit our nozzle at a certain rate, well, then there's no point. We can't go that fast. And that's what max volumetric speed is. That is the speed at which we can make sure that filament is flowing out of our nozzle freely, if that makes sense. We'll have a video on this, don't worry. So these are all basic settings. I didn't like their line width settings. I changed them a little bit. Their speed settings were perfectly fine. I think they were saying something of like a 200 millimeters per second printing speed max. And these kind of show that. Our outer walls at 140, our inner walls a little lower, and then our infills are all maxed out. The accelerations, I believe, were somewhere around 8,000. That's what they said. So I think it's a little high. I have a feeling 7,000 is going to be the sweet spot, but whatever. Let's see what they, if they think that's what it is, that's what it is. So let's do an Orca cube. We love them. It's a cube plus this little screws into the bottom here, hopefully. Only one printer's ever actually done it for me. That's the KLP1 with PLA. The Quiddy has never done it except for ASA and actually did screw in. Whatever, no big deal. As long as the cube comes out nice, that's all we want. We're going to slice it. And it is a 30-minute cube. That is kind of a lot. What flow are we hitting here? All right, so we're never really breaching 10 millimeters per second. I mean, we are here and there. Let's do something a little less. This isn't going to make it less, right? I want to do a 20-minute print because I want to take a second, take a break, walk upstairs, get myself another beverage. What about a Kenji? They're pretty cool and they're probably pretty quick. So this is like a calibration model I found on printables recently. It looks kind of cute. It's 31 minutes. Darn it. Wait, is my layer time too high? Actually, I might not have affected that. Yeah, okay. So another thing, cooling, right? I said throttles print speed. Here's a part of cooling that is throttling our print speed. It is making sure that every layer is at least 8 seconds. That means it is slowing our print head down to reach 8 seconds for each layer. That's a little high. I usually do 4 seconds. I usually cut in half. Now we should be printing faster, and that 30-minute Kenji went to 26 minutes. All right, it's not bad. Let's just do it. We're going to need some filament in our printer. We did this last stream. I would hope someone reminded me this time that we haven't loaded filament into the printer, but okay, no one wanted to remind me, that's fine. 10 to 20K excels. Even my Bamboo don't really print at that. they can push it. I think they printed around 10, but if they can with wheels, God bless them. Let's get some filament in here. Let's use the clipper screen to do it. And then we'll get a drink. Then we'll slice. We'll pass the print to the printer, and then we'll get ourselves a drink and we'll watch it print. So extruder. This is how easy clipper screen is, right? I just click the word extruder, and then I click the numbers I want it to be. 230. And it's going to heat up to 230. And then once it does, we're going to load filament. But let's bring this a little higher because I want to extrude some filament. And I don't want it to be on the bed when I do that. So let's bring the Z up 10. Do we have to home? Yeah, okay. Fair enough. Thank you for reminding me, Clipper. So after a while, we did home our axes, but Clipper needs you to rehome them because the motors have turned off. It's just it's a safety in case you've moved the motors manually and you try to move them again. Well, printer doesn't know where the motors are. You go to move them, you could break something, you could crash into something. It's a fail-safe. Thank you, Clipper. All right, now we can start moving. So we're going to move up 50. Let's move up another 50. Smooth movement, right? Yeah, I know. I don't know. Bamboo Labs, so they're smart, right? Bamboo Labs is stealing everyone's information. Not in a bad way, but you know, they know every print that is on every build plate out there. So the answer to that was the Bamboo Labs A1. That means people are printing multicolor and they're not printing huge. So when there is a need for it, when there is a demand that they can make money on, which is perfectly fine, there's nothing wrong with that, they will make a big printer. Now, obviously, there was a lot of people were upset because they thought it was going to be a big printer and it wasn't. If the metrics, the numbers don't tell Bamboo they want one, they ain't going to make it. But I think after the last little outcry of people wanting one and then the A1 came, I think, and they even said they're going to make one. So I think it's coming. Hopefully it's not rushed, you know, to try and make the gap up for that demand. But yeah, Bamboo Lab with an XL printer, that'd be something. Should we use, I never use filament that comes with a printer because it's usually just a little piece. But they gave me a full roll. Should I use it? It's white. White is like white will show up any imperfections. White PLA. All right, I was going to say there was no release when I opened the bag. None of them ever a good sign. My voice is killing me. You know what's killing you. Which news? That they were making a big printer? It went under the radar. After the A1 came out, I forgot who, some big 3D printer was interviewing one of the creators or one of the CEO, I think, of Bamboo Labs, and I think they made the announcement that yes, they're going to be making a bigger printer in sort of retaliation to everyone's ire of being like, oh, we thought this was a big printer and it's just this little A1 that we probably all want and need and it's like so cheap. All right, so where's my mouse? It smells like a hot end. I can smell it. In through the filament runout sensor. So I love this filament runout sensor is dongled on like 2 axes, which is nice. And it's right above the printer, which is great. You know, wherever your sensor triggers, that's how far of filament you're going to have. So with the Quiddy, it triggers like, let's say, somewhere up, you can't see it, but way up here. So you have a huge length of filament that never reaches the extruder. The closer to the extruder the filament runout sensor is, the better. All right, so I like to do this manually. And we're in. You can see filament coming out. I will now do it with the clipper screen. I know everyone wants to see it. So I'm going to move. So I'm not super versed in clipper screen, and I apologize. So extrude. It's probably the word that says extrude, though, if I had to guess. 10 millimeters, and now we're extruding. That is extruding way too fast. What is it at? 5 millimeters per second? Get out of here, man. Extrude at 10 millimeters. Go to 1. There we go. Now we're shooting at a decent print. Love the extruder gear that lets us see that it's actually moving. I love that. We're going to print probably a different color at some point just because we can. Very cool, though. All right. We have filament installed. We're going to now drop our temp back down, even though it's going to come right back up. Yeah, it's a nice knob, right? Is that a joke? Yeah, what, the Bamboo Labs? They are brilliant. Bamboo Labs has done all the advancements in a year, or not the advancements, all the necessity of 3D printing companies to go smaller and cheaper and do more is all because of Bamboo Labs. So there's a lot of reasons to not like them, I guess, but the reaction the community has, the 3D printing manufacturers have had, has been amazing. You know, it's necessitated a lot of stuff that we've needed. That Comgrow KLP1 behind me, $300, $350 for a core enclosed Core XY 3D printer. That would never be $350 2 years ago. That's a $750 machine easily. And it's super fast and it's got clipper. All right, let's slice a print. No, some of the stuff you print is incriminating, but no, it's not that it's incriminating. They just take every metric of every print that's printed on them, which is fine. And that data, right? Knowledge is king. Data is king. They have data on everyone's prints, which is whatever. But they can use that to, you know, do good things for them, like curate machines that are going to hit the biggest basis, you know, customer base possible, which is smart. It's fine. It's a great way to use all that information. So that's what they're doing. They're seeing what prints are coming in. How big are people printing? What are they printing? What materials are they printing in? Is it multicolor? Is it not? And they can take all that knowledge and they can make whatever printer is going to be best for the masses, which is a great way to use that sort of information, I suspect. Let's get to printing and slicing. Okay, so we have our little Kenji. We already sliced them. This was before. We have to add our Wi-Fi information in here. Am I supposed to, like, block this out so no one can see it? Why isn't it saying test? There it is. Thank you. Okay, so we're good. Slice it again. We're going to send this print directly from our slicer. So now it's sliced. I hit print. It's going to go right here. Upload and print. It's going very slow, which is kind of common nowadays with these all-in-one boards that are a Pi and a main board. They're a little slow. And we'll go back to the main screen, or what main still calls the dashboard, and you can see we're already getting ready here. So in my start print, I warm the nozzle up to 170, and then I go, the bed goes to whatever the bed temperature is for this filament. Today, for this print, it's 60, it's PLA. And at 170, we're going to start probing the bed. And, oh, wait a second. So we already see a problem. Let's cancel this print. Where is cancel print? Is there like just a cancel print button? Okay, so how do we use CAMP, the Clipper's automated bed measure and purging? We need to have this word, literally, exclude object, added to our Clipper configuration. That's it. I should have thought ahead. It doesn't have exclude object, obviously, in it, so we're going to add it. So let's see, exclude. Oh, this is way different. So there's no, so it's not in here. And what was the other file they were calling? They were including PLR. It's not in here either. Okay, so that's why that's not going to work. It's my fault. I should have thought about this. I'm going to put it in the, no, I'm not. I'm going to put it in my macros. This is literally what we need for this to work. You get ready for this? Exclude object. It's going to work now. How crazy is that? I also should make sure, I mean, the slicer has everything appropriately. We are excluding objects. What does that mean, right? I should probably explain. What does exclude object mean? Exclude object means we can individually cancel objects per print. So if we were to be printing 4 cubes, we could stop one of those cubes or 2 of those cubes or 3 of those cubes from printing. We can exclude individual objects. It means the slicer sets up a print in such a way that every object is its own unique G-code file, and we can stop them at any point in time. It's great for a few things. It's just like I explained. If one of those cubes comes undone, well, we can stop printing that cube and we can still print the 3 remaining models on our build plate. We haven't lost all that filament on the 3 ones that are fairly well printed. We can just kind of exclude that one out and we can still get a great print. So you save time and you save that material. That's great. But also what it's doing is, because it's constraining the geometry to each of those models, well, now Clipper knows every one of those models' locations. It knows its entire span, where it's going to start and where it's going to end. And we can use that information, the actual geometry, to only probe the bed where that's going to be. So that's what exclude object is doing for us. Instead of making a probe of this entire bed like we did earlier just to see, we're just going to probe, and I'm going to show you just where the model's going to be. So it's going to give us a really tight mesh. It's going to be more accurate. We're going to get a better first layer, and ultimately our prints are just going to print better, adhere better, and we're going to get more successful prints. So using exclude object, thank you, Mr. Ed, in this way is huge. And for a printer this big, it's a necessity. Thank you. Zoomy, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I haven't been saying hi to anyone in the comments. When I go to the screenshot view, I can't see them. So Zoomy, everyone that has been here, that is being here, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you for stopping by. If you're not watching, you're watching this as a VOD, a video on demand, I appreciate that. I think you're a psycho for sticking around this long as a VOD, but thank you very much. Yeah, so in main cell, you have to pause it first and then cancel it. Whatever. I mean, it's different, right? Different is worse. Where are we? Let's go to the screenshot view so you all can see. I think we're done. I think we've canceled. No. What does it got to do now? So the console here, very important. Z-tilt. What's that? Oh, it goes the opposite direction? Oh my god. Save config. Unknown command. So we're still, I guess we're still in the heating phase right now. Oh, our bed's not even heating. Oh, alright. So I haven't even considered this. I'm restarting the firmware. The bed is gigantic. I probably should have been heating the bed this entire time for you, because heating this bed to 60 degrees is probably going to take a bit. In the interim, we can look at some cool things on the slicer, though. Don't worry. We got stuff to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this heat up to 60 on the bed, and then let it cancel, and then we'll come back in and do its thing. So, yeah, I love this shirt, by the way, so thank you. Love the Genesis. That was like my console. A lot of people had the Super Nintendo. I got a Genesis, so it was whatever. Just to give you an idea as to how big this build plate is, right? Let's take a look around. Let's go to, what does everyone have? A Creality Ender 3? Or a Bamboo Labs P1P, which is a little bigger, right? People love the Bamboo Labs. So let's bring in a model that's like a bust. This Vader bust is a sick one. I don't even have it in here, of course. This Cobra Commando bust is a sick one. All right, sick Cobra Commando bust. This is by Eastman. Does a great job. This is the max size that we can get on a P1P. Let's drag it until... So it's about... So you see when it gets dark, that's the Z height, which we're going to contend with. So at about 131 scale, that's about as big as we can print this on a P1P. We can't get any bigger than that. Pretty big, right? Let's go to the Quiddy. here's the Quiddy. It's the same exact model, just changed color because the filament. So this is the P1P size. Now we can get it definitely bigger on the Quiddy. So let's get it bigger. Doing this all with a trackpad, I apologize. All right, so you can see the head starts getting shadow on it, meaning it's too big. So at 166, 165. That's as big as we can get this on a Quiddy. Doesn't matter that we can make it larger in the X and Y. We can't make it any larger in the Z, so that's really what our constraint is. So here's the P1P. Here is the Quiddy. Those are the max sizes for these two models. P1P max size, Quiddy max size. That is a huge difference, right? If I put these back to back in the actual setting, they would look drastically different. Trying to make a right-click drag with a trackpad, it's not easy. Okay. They would look way different. Like, this is so much bigger. Now, let's go. All right, T500 just paused. Let's go to the T500. Let's to be continue this. I know you're all excited. All right, just pause. We're going to now cancel. Kind of annoying. We're going to save and restart to make sure all the additions we made to those by adding exclude object is going to take. I don't know how to do that. Firmware restart. So we put exclude object in, we save that file, but we need to start Clipper up while it has that. So we need to save it, and then we need to restart it, which is what we just did. It is now restarted, so we can now safely print this Kenji again. We're not going to have that issue where it says exclude object define unknown command. It now knows what exclude object is, so it's going to work. We're already close to being at those levels, so it's going to start printing very shortly. So let's get back to our demonstration. We have the P1P Max. We have the Quiddy X Max 3 Max. Let's find what the T500 Max is. About 260. That is the max size on the T500, the printer we're looking at today. This, I mean, look at that. P1P max size, Quiddy X Max 3 max size, T500 max size. It's nearly 2 of these from the Quiddy. I mean, it's huge. I can't wait. I'm very excited, as you can tell. So, I mean, that's those are virtual models, but you can kind of get an idea. Jesus, this is twice now. The size difference is enormous. So, I can't wait to finally get one of those off the bed. If this prints well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. If this prints well and does what it's supposed to do, get one of those off the bed and find out what's going on. All right, let me get you down to a webcam shot. I'll start answering some of these comments if people made them. All right, so we heated. We're now homing, and then we should do a smaller than normal bed probe because we're using the adaptive mesh, so we should only be probing where the Kenji is going to be printing, which is right in the center of the bed. Yeah, the bed's going to take longer to... Ian makes me laugh. Yeah, the Elegoo Orange Storm Giga was in my wheelhouse. It came out after this. I've been wanting to go bigger for some reason, so you'll see the probing is happening right now, but at a much smaller area. We're not doing this gigantic bed. We're just going to do the area. So the Orange Storm Giga, I saw it. I wanted it. The price was right. I don't know that I actually have anywhere that would fit, but I had already spent money on this, and that's not coming out till next year. It just wasn't the right time. It wasn't going to happen. I emailed them. Dino Nugget kind of gave me the inspiration. He's like, just do it. I was like, all right. So I emailed them just to see if they would, want to help a small upcoming streamer out or a video producer out. I never heard back, so that's that. What are you going to do? It's huge. It looks awesome. I would love to have it. It's the kind of thing where you can, print actual furniture. Not the sure that you'd want to, but, I would love to get a chair, and just everyone comes over. I'm like, yeah, this is a 3D printed chair. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be huge. So I have a Deadpool from Quiddy that I printed at the Quiddy Max size, and it's large. It's very big. I can only imagine what this is going to print. I don't know why I'm ripping, but I'll take it. Yeah, no, because they never emailed me back. Yeah, they didn't not even respond. Left me on red. That's the thing that kids say, right? Left you on red. All right, so it did our probing. It's now heating up the hot end to 220, I think I probably have it set. I'm not really 100% sure. It's all right, so we talked about Clipper's adaptive mesh and purge, right? I'm not taking use of the purge style. I should. It's purging all the way over here to the left of the bed. I can have it purge right next to the model if I wanted to. Not really a big deal, but it would save us a little bit, I guess. All right, so this is our first print. I'm gonna get down close and inspect this Z offset. It looks pretty good, actually. I don't think I'm gonna, if anything, it might need to be adjusted away from the bed. It's moving. This thing is really cooking. I wish I could get you closer, but I just can't get this closer to the ground, I don't think. First layer, looks nice. I mean, it looks really good. If anything, it's a touch close, but I'm not gonna worry about that right now. What I am worried about, to be honest with you, is these PC beds, these polycarbonate beds, for me, have had an issue with over-adhesion. And because of the size of this bed, we talked about it, I'm never gonna be able to buy a bed from anywhere but Comgrow, so I hope I don't ruin this bed with over-adhesion. This thing is moving. Look at this guy. Let me give you a wide shot now. So what do we have? We have 8,000 acceleration, 200 millimeters per second on the infill, 140 on the outer walls, 160 inner walls. So we're cooking. I love that. Yeah, you know, it's funny about the Neptune because I heard always good things from Elegoo. So and then the Neptune 4s looked nice. You know, I saw one in person even, and it looks like a nice machine. It looks solid. So I'm very surprised. I've heard really nothing, I wouldn't say nothing but complaints, but I've heard more about it in the form of people complaining than I've heard about it in the form of people saying it was amazing. Kind of a good way of saying it, I guess, right? Why isn't Clipper screen not showing the thumbnail? I don't know. Is it supposed to show me the thumbnail? Maybe I'm on the wrong. Oh, I'm in the fine tuning. Okay, so why isn't it showing the thumbnail? I don't know. I know I have it set up to 300 by 300, and I know it should. Maybe that's something that they don't have added properly. Let me look. That's a good question. I'm a little off my game because I'm not used to mainsail. I should probably get more familiar with it. And usually I see a thumbnail in fluid and I don't see it in mainsail. So that's a good question. Why don't I see it? Why don't I see it? I have it as a PNG, 300 by 300. It should definitely be showing it. I don't know why it's not. I'm going to have to look into it. That's a great question. It's a good observation. Yeah, I don't see it. Orca, I'm doing everything I normally do with Orca. My Orca profile set up the same way. So I don't see it on the front end either, but like I said, I'm not used to printing with mainsail, so maybe I'm just not looking at it right. But I'll have to look into it. But my Orca is sending it like it should. So PNG 300 by 300. Everything else is set up fine. So I'm not sure. I'll find out. Please don't do that. Let's just delete the entire preset. Don't want to do that. Yeah, there's a G-code visualizer. I'm not looking at it though. Yeah, this thing is, it's fast right now. It's moving pretty fast. And it's a small little print, but it's moving. And I gotta tell you, let's get a wide shot. I mean, this has uprights like field goals. I mean, look at this thing. It's all metal. It's sturdy. It's fast. It's big. You know, where am I gonna put it? I don't know, but it's pretty cool so far. I'm kind of liking it. And it has all the routines and features that Klipper offers us, which means I'm gonna be able to plug a webcam into this thing as soon as I can. The actual is for it. I'm not sure if I'm using the Klipper screen or I can run it right from the main board, which is gonna be underneath it. But I'm surprised it's going as quickly as it is, to be honest. This thing is really cooking. This is a pretty cool print too. It's a calibration style print. It's called Kenji. It's prints in 3 different parts on the base, on the build plate, and they all come together as one little like robot with movable legs and stuff. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, the CR10s. I mean, are the CR10s just still like CR10s, bed slingers with the normal hot end with a breakout board? I don't know. You know, running Marlin. This thing is different, and you need room for it, but it's cool. I don't know that it's for everyone, but it's definitely for me right now. I'm loving it. I can't wait to put something on here that fills up the whole build plate. I have noise suppression on, but I had noise suppression on with the King Rune, and people complained about that, so it's pretty loud. I'll go closer to it. I haven't been... I'll go right over it. So this is my hand. This is the mic. I mean, it's pretty loud, but I don't hear the fan from the main board. I hear the fans that are on the hot ends, of which there are 4 technically. 3 parts cooling fans, 1 on the hot end. But those are the fans that I can hear. Its movement is loud. You can hear the actual, you know, stepper drivers doing their thing. But I didn't expect it to be quiet because of how large it is, but if it was, that would be nice. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. I mean, I can hear it. There's no doubt I can hear it. Standing right here, but I mean, I'm not expecting to be silent. 2 motors on the Y, 2 motors on the Z, a motor on the X, but it looks cool. I don't know where it's going, but it looks cool. So you're hearing a little bit of everything. You're hearing the fans are constant, and during those acceleration movements, those sharp stops and starts, you're hearing those stepper motors. Or you're just hearing the bed moving, but I'm assuming it's the stepper motors that are vibrating through the bottom of this plate underneath here, and then you're hearing it. But yeah, I mean, you're not going to sleep next to this thing, I'll tell you that much. Yeah, I'm going to check. Usually the stepper currents, they set them pretty decent out of the factory with these Klipper style printers, but their configuration was set up way differently, so I have a feeling their whole setup is way different. So I'm going to dive into that. I can't wait to look. Their configuration file was way less hectic than a lot of the other ones. If you saw the original King Rune or the Quiddy file, let me just go to this real quick. I think the screenshot gives you the printer, right? What do I have on? Do I have the King Rune on? Yeah. if you see the configuration file, wait, did I turn it off? Oh, I did. All right, never mind. That some of these printers ship with, it's like, yikes. It's all over the place. And they don't care that a human being might actually read it one day and try and make sense of it. It's just like a stream of consciousness. Whereas this one, this configuration file looks really, really nice. Like, it's just, there's not a ton of text or anything like, it's just, all right, resonance tester, heater bed. It's, they gave us the entire respond macro. That's nice of them. It's just super clean end print. Load filament, clean, unload. Very clean. We're not really ejecting any filament first, but okay. Let me see if I can get you this. I put the King Rune back on. I turned it back on. So this is, let me find an old one. You can hear it. I don't have any of the old ones, huh? All right, so I only have my newest printer.cfg. I cleaned it up a lot, so it's not going to show us anything. But besides, oh, you know what? Oh, no. I don't want to turn the Quiddy on because that's pretty loud. The Quiddy's the one that I forgot I cleaned that one up. The Quiddy's the one that is a jumbled mess. And I never got around to fixing it up for some reason. I'm not really sure why. Do I know? No, that's a good question. I'm going to open this thing up. We're going to take a look at the board and the circuitry. Not tonight, but I'm going to do it. It's so big, it's kind of hard to do, but it's going to happen. But no, I don't know what board it has. I'm going to assume most everything's going to be a copy, a reproduction, or a spiritual successor to anything that Creality has done. Comgrow obviously is the reseller for Creality for many years. This is their first printer. I have to imagine they're not straying far. There's probably a lot of relatives or interconnection between Comgrow and Creality. So I have to imagine that the board they have there is going to be very similar to a Creality board. But we don't know. We don't know till we open. So we're going to open. John, good night, brother. Yeah, we're going to be off very soon. After this print's done, we're going to get going. I got to get to dinner. See some people, do some things. Yeah, it's an MKS, so we can get in and username MKS, password MakerBase, so we can get whatchamacallit. We can get root access. We should be able to get root access to this. So let's see. So through SSH, I can go through the IP. And now we have root access. So yes, we're good. We can do anything we want. Very cool. Very cool. No, I don't have a decimal meter, Ian, surprisingly enough, but I got my body closer, which I'll do again for you. So this is actually, let me just take the mic. No, I don't want to take the mic off because getting it back on. I'll just put my body right up next to it. So, it ain't quiet, but it's not the loudest printer either. I mean, it's pretty loud. 3 fans on the hot end, plus the actual hot end fan, 4 fans, plus this bed moving, plus the stepper drivers you can hear going. Hey, Ray, what's up, brother? Yeah, this is a big boy. 500 millimeters in every direction. And, of course, we're doing the smallest possible print as a test print. I think when I leave here, before I do, I might hook it up to Octo Everywhere. I might hook a webcam up to it and put on a big print so I can watch it while I'm away from my home. If I have time to do that, I will. It's going to be off stream, but I will do it just so I can see if I can get a Mondo print on this thing. But Ian, I thought you were the one who told me that the decimal meters don't matter because they're all loud. Like, it's so hard to tell, even with a decimal meter, how loud these things are really going to be. But the first print, if you're just here, this is a Kenji. It's a calibration model. I'll show you what it looks like. It's a pretty decent, like, check how your printer is operating print. Oh, that's not it. So this is it. This is what we're printing right now. It's movable. So it starts on the bed in 3 different spots. And, oh, actually 5 different spots, I guess. And it comes together. Please don't do that. Comes together, and then it has some movable joints right here. So we're checking tolerance. We're checking bridging. Some overhangs, of course, on its back. On its bottom, we can check the bridging and stuff like this. So it's a decent calibration print. It's just cute to look at, too. You can hook it on a key ring if you want. Give it to your granddaughter. That's what I did in my last one. I don't know that she liked it, but she's going to be getting a lot of these, so I hope she starts collecting them. So that's what we're printing right now. Yeah, just a big cube. And that's not a bit. Just a gigantic orca cube that I could like screw in with my by hand, not even by fingers. All right, let's get a little closer to this thing because now we can actually see a print coming, actually being made. So, I mean, it's moving. It's crisp. We're at 8,000 acceleration. It's just basically for every movement. Our outer walls are 140 millimeters per second. Our inners are 160. You know, when we can hit that, based on the size of the model, it's going to be hard in certain locations. It looks pretty good. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't really see any nasty deformations. The infill looks perfectly fine. This is using the filament that was provided with the printer. So it came with a full PLA. That's what we're using. Looking pretty good. This bed is polycarbonate material on top, so it's not PEI. Good and bad. Good because it's going to just attract the hell out of our printers. It's going to really give us good adherence. But it's going to give us too much adherence in some cases, and it kind of is rough getting prints off sometimes, I find. So hopefully everything releases without issue once it cools down. But I'm not going to have, I don't think, issue with actual adhesion because these PC build plates are very good. I prefer PEI, but, you know, where are we going to find one this big? Which has had some discussion. Yeah, scaled up. I was thinking of like a scaled up cube and hollowed out. I use it for like a box or something like that to put parts in. You know, I'm thinking of everything. I think it's going to be a bust. Something really cool from Eastman or something. That was my thought. But I don't know. I'm open for suggestions. Drop them now. Dude, I love that wheel. I love the wheels on the extruders that let you see what they're doing. I love that stuff. Like the Soval is like probably the most recent adaptation of that, where, you know, a new adaptation of it, and that nice light blue it has. So I'm definitely going to print this wheel in a different color, so it stands out a little more. It's going to still work with the decor. Maybe it'll just be white or something like that. But I love how it looks. Shows you exactly the retractions, the extrusions, how quickly they're moving. Very nice. So Clipper screen shows that we're hitting about we're hitting 160 and stuff. We're basically hitting, in some areas, our target print speeds. I'm seeing a lot of 140s, a lot of 160s. You know, they're all over the place. They're mostly I have to estimate in some cases, but it's getting there. We're a little over halfway through. We got 13 minutes left on this guy or girl. It's a robot, I guess. We don't really know. Autonomous. But this, I talked the whole time, and it's super heavy. This is an 86-pound printer. Let me get. can I do a main shot, and then can I add a video source? All right, we can do a final wrap up here. Comgrow T500 went together very easily. Right, this is the right side. Except for the weight, of course. 86-pound printer, or 80-plus pound printer. I don't know if it actually reaches 86. The footprint on it is enormous. I'll take my tape measure out later, but it's probably 3 feet by, I mean, with this, I don't know, 4 feet. It's big. But the setup overall was great. It was just like we did the Ender last week. We put the top on, we screwed it in place, and we were kind of done. We did a few electrical connections. We put the filament spool holder on top. We mounted the screen. This was quite literally just like the Ender 3 V3 SE that we did on Wednesday, except it's double everything. It's double the size, it's triple the weight, and it's like quadruple the price. But that's what you get when you go bigger. It is what it is. Do you need a printer this big? I don't know. I don't think I do, but I wanted one. As is the case with most things 3D printing, I want it. And it will definitely help in some ways. Making my nearest goal is large Christmas ornaments or something like that for outside the house, maybe. Like a Christmas tree thing. Whatever, we'll figure it out. Large build volume, so the bed is big. So for heating, I'm curious if it can maintain whatever we heat this bed to across the entire bed surface. So right now it's 60 degrees for PLA. We're only using the center, which is probably where the thermal conductors are. So it's probably going to be 60 around there, but around the edges is where we start to lose temperature. Now the max temp on this bed is 80 degrees Celsius, so we're really not printing ABS. Not that we thought we were, because we don't, I mean, how are we going to enclose this? Then we got to have the tent or something. But PETG is possible. But the question is going to be, can we maintain 80 degrees Celsius on the outer edges of that print bed? Especially if I want to print something like ornaments for outside. You want to print something for your backyard. You're going to want it to be in PETG, not PLA. It's, PLA is not the best under UV light, under heavy sunlight. So it'll be fine. But, ultimately, if it's going to be outside a lot, PETG is where it's at. And with a printer like this, you might be printing stuff like that. So, uniformity of bed temperature is going to be an issue or a question. What about a full-size helmet? Yeah, I can print a helmet for like Juggernaut on this thing. You can definitely print a full-size helmet in one shot. Even the Quiddy can do that. The Quiddy prints full-size helmets perfectly fine. And this is so much bigger than that. So yeah, I have no problem printing a full-size helmet. I could probably print 2 at the same time. That's how wildly big this is. So the Quiddy is, what, 310 by 310, 320 by 320. This is 500 by 500. Doesn't seem like that much more, but when we looked at the slicer earlier of how big the models actually are when you're comparing the max sizes, this is huge. I mean, it's really, really big. It's surprisingly big. So we're going to have fun with this. We'll get some small prints. We'll do some larger prints. Like I said, I'm going to put a webcam on, Octo everywhere. We're going to do all the Clipper shenanigans we can. And if you are on the Discord, if you're not, join. Hopefully you all are. Just because the conversations that people have there, the prints that they're showing, the knowledge they have, it's amazing. Really a great group of people there. And I'm going to be sharing pictures of this, I suspect, on the Discord. So if you're curious what this can do, the Discord is probably one of the places to do it. I'm going to have a YouTube video at some point, probably showcasing this because that's really cool. Fat Yoshi. Maybe a Fat Yoshi egg. I think anything Nintendo is on the table right now. Definitely a possibility. This thing's really going. Model looks really nice. I think we're nearing on 10 minutes here. Yeah. Full-size props. Pardon me. Trees, this kind of thing. I mean, we have a large build plate. Or just a bunch of small things. Right? I can probably put like 12 flexi dinosaurs on here, or whatever the flexi model of choice is. This, the Ender 3 we just did, I just did a flexi Tyrannosaurus on it. Printed out very nicely. It really came out nice. This is the Ender 3 V3 SE. No calibration, auto Z offset. That's something kids would want. So, if you're if you know someone who might want a printer, I think the Ender 3 V3 SE, that's too many. I think that's a great beginner printer. I mean, I really did no setup to it, and it just kind of did its thing. So how many of these can I fit on here? 10? 11 maybe? This is light too much here, maybe. Maybe. So, just to give you an idea what Clipper screen looks like while we are running a print. This is Clipper screen. There should be a thumbnail here. There's not. We'll fix that at some point. Gives us our bed temperature, our Z height currently, the speeds that it thinks we're at, the extrusion. This is our volumetric extrusion right here. This is where we're at. So 5.8, it might go to 6.6, stuff like this. How much time has elapsed? How much time is left? Oh, did I hit cancel accidentally? And the file name, we get a little percentage, how much we've done, time, all these different things. If we wanted to, we could cancel from here. We could pause from here. We go to fine tuning, and we could do some Z offset adjustment. We can adjust any speeds we want, extrusion speeds, stuff like this. So Clipper screen is awesome to have. Awesome addition to your 3D printer. And this comes with it. So good on them. It also comes with an accelerometer, by the way, if you came here late. We didn't hook the accelerometer up. We didn't do any accelerometer testing. And to be honest, I don't think I saw any values. Did I see? I saw a resonance tester. But I don't know if I saw values for an accelerometer. So this might not even be using accelerometer. That'd be crazy if that's the case. That means this can probably get even better. So yeah, well Adrian, yeah, for a beginner, I just unboxed that Ender 3 V3 SC and it was awesome. I did nothing. It's not the best stream. My streams aren't the best right now. I'm just starting out. But if you wanted to go watch it, you can see, I put it together and it just starts printing. You do you do an auto Z offset and auto bed leveling adjustment. It's literally, you click a button, it just does it all. Then you just slice some prints and I haven't done anything. Like I specifically made it a point. I specifically made it a point anything on the Ender 3 V3 right now, and it's just printing. So I printed, there's a Joel bust in the back over there. Printed that. I just sliced it up and printed it. It did its thing. So for a new person, for a beginner, someone that's interested, geekbuying.com gave me that printer for free as a review, and then they gave me a coupon code, and you can get that printer for $158 using my coupon code and free shipping. You can't beat that. It's outrageous. I mean, I'm not saying it to use my coupon. You can use someone. I don't care who you use it. If you're gonna buy that printer, $158 is probably the best deal you're gonna find. It's crazy, and it's just everything works. It's a 5 to 10 minute setup, and the printer just goes. You just have to learn how to slice. But you know, if you have a Voxel Bacula, you probably know the ins and outs of a slicer already. So apart from that, you're gonna have a great time. And the cool thing about that printer is, we should be able to modify it for our needs the more we print. What I mean by that is, I don't want a printer that prints with Marlin anymore. I just love Clipper. It has all these features. So I could buy that for $158, and I should be able to put Clipper right onto it and get all the benefits that Clipper has. And I should be able to modify it like a normal Ender 3. I can put a new extruder on, although I don't know I would. I get a webcam, I get Octoever, I do all these different things for $158. It has rails, linear rails. It's a really good printer. It has what looks to be a Sprite extruder or something comparable. So it kind of hits both ends of the spectrum. Brand new beginners, it's great for them. And then seasoned 3D printers that have printers and want more, you can find something to like there too. I'm telling you. Oh wow, 20 Flexi Dinos? Colin, hats off to you. That's very nice. It's awesome to do. I mean, kids love those things. It's nice to find ways like that with our 3D printers to help out, right? When kids especially, I bring my granddaughter down here, and every time she leaves with like a new print. Sometimes stuff I don't want her to take, but you know, who cares? They love this kind of stuff. So being able to produce that kind of stuff on your printer, especially for Thanksgiving or a holiday or someone giveaway, that's awesome. That's what this is all about. Kev, you don't have to buy this one, man. This one, I think it's like $800 now, this particular printer. The Ender 3, though, you're not going to break the bank with that. You know, that's a great, it's finishing the Joel bust as we speak right now upstairs. It's probably already done. It did the top half of the bust, now it's doing the base. And that's actually going to a giveaway. If anyone's familiar with The Last of Us, the video game or the TV show that followed it, there's a Facebook group, contacted me. They just wanted the bust to give away. I'm more than happy to do it because I love 3D printing. And I love that show, and I love the game. I played all the games a long time ago, back when I was a young man, I suspect. But now they have a Facebook group. So if you're interested and you're on Facebook and you wanted to go find their group, The Last of Us, I'm not sure what it's called. I suspect you probably just search that. Join that group. They seem like a bunch of nice people, and you can get a free bust out of it, maybe. All right, I can hear that we're done. Kenji has finished. All right. I don't want to get too excited, but this looks like awesome. I mean, it's a small print. You really can't. I'm going to give you this large view as I take it off, because watching me manipulate this huge bed is kind of funny, I think. Let me get this out of the way. Nope, not that. All right, are you ready for this? And here you are, madame. Your small 30 by 30 print. Look at this thing. Hysterical. So this, I don't know. Usually white filament, you can tell how bad prints are. This looks like I can't even see the layer lines. Uh-oh. Oh, poor adhesion. Poor layer adhesion. That could be the filament. So look, the arm broke off. Kenji's arm broke off. Kenji. So I don't like that. But that can be the filament they gave us. I mean, I don't know what's in. That's why I never use the manufacturer's filament. But guess what? We have tolerance testing. It moves perfectly. It looks super sick. The bridging under here is awesome. Let me go to the webcam view. You might be able to see it a little bit better. So this under here is designed to be bridging under his little butt section here. It's perfect. There's no sagging at all. Not that you see a lot anyway, but I don't see any. It looks just like really straight extrusion. All the little vents back here are perfectly visible. They look really nice. A little bit of stringing here where the hook would be. The hook, that's fine. I mean, a lot of stuff is filament related settings we can tune, or even retraction settings. I don't remember what it was. I think the retract on here is 0.5 or even 0.3. I made it really low. I know that. This is a direct drive. It's not direct drive. That's actually inaccurate. It's a direct extrude. Top of this thing, super clean. Like layer lines, really non-existent. No banding. It just looks really nice. The bottom of this looks awesome. Great adhesion. Now, I don't like that it broke off here. That tells me that the layer bonding was not good. Either the layer height, it wasn't at a good enough temperature, or it was moving too fast, something like this. I'll have to look into it, or it simply could be the filament. The rest of it feels pretty solid. So I'll chalk it up to the filament for now. You know, this is not known good filament. This is unknown filament. So I'll use known good filament and we'll go from there. But this is a nice little model. It's printed really well. Now, of course, this is a small model. How are we gonna, you can't get much from this, but listen, we didn't do much. We set it up. We did all automatic adjustments, right? The Z tilt adjust. Well, this as a wrap up. We did all automatic adjustments. We did the Z tilt adjust. We did the Z tilt adjust, which adjusted the side of the gantry. We did a bed probing, which is normal with a bed probe, obviously. We made a mesh. And then we did Z offset calibration, which we calibrated those Z offset. That's all we did here. I haven't done any rotation distance. I haven't done pressure advance. There's an accelerometer in the box, but are they using any values? That I don't know. Let me find out. I know I saw something. No, I'm not even using accelerometer values right now. That means we can only get better. We haven't done pressure advance, like I said, so we can do that. We have an accelerometer we can use, so we can get accelerometer. Oh my God, that's crazy. So we're not even using that. So this is a completely, like, what I would consider an uncalibrated printer. Our rotation distance hasn't been calibrated yet, at least by us. I mean, they've probably done it at the factory, but who knows? We haven't done pressure vents, huge. We haven't done input shaping, huge. And we still got a really, really nice model from this unknown filament. The layer lines are nearly non-existent, and white filament usually is something that shows a lot of that stuff. My tolerances are fine. It started at 5 different points in the bed and built up of our whole bed, and then we used Clippers Camp, Clippers Adaptive Mesh and Purge, to make a smaller mesh just over this area to print like this. I'm very happy. Our Clipper screen's working. It went together very easily. Even the setup on the Clipper screen was great. I'm very happy about this. Really, really good stuff. So I'm going to keep printing. I'm going to print larger. Large Marge is next. Ooh, I wish there was a large Marge print. And we'll... Please tell me I'm on this. We'll go from there. Yeah, well, I'm worried about higher temp because I see a little bit of stringing, but that could be my retraction. But yes, higher temp is usually the answer to this. You're absolutely right. I'm going to use a different filament, though, because I don't know this filament, and I hate to do that, like follow ghosts on a printer with filament or something that I don't know. You know, I like to have all my factors known. So I'm going to use filament that I know is good. I'm going to probably print this again, and then we'll go from there. And then if I have the same issue, then yes, higher temps, retraction, layer height issue, something, you know, we'll figure that out. But let me catch up on some of these. Don't look pretty big. Yeah, this thing looks great. So, what PLA filament manufacturer would you use best for PLA? You know what? I try and stick to the main brands now, which I consider like Overture, Polymaker, even like eSun. I like 3D Max. They're cheaper. They only ship within the United States, so they're inexpensive. I shouldn't use the word cheaper. They're inexpensive filament, but they're good, and they're PLA Plus always. I like them a lot. That's probably what I'm going to put on here and run it through, because while the reeling of their spools can be somewhat questionable, the actual filament itself is usually pretty good. So the spooling of their filaments are questionable. The actual filament's good. So I'm happy with where we're at. It went together, right? And now we get to start printing. Yay. So webcam, Octo everywhere. I'm going to keep printing. Stay tuned. Join the Discord. Do all those things just so you can maintain what we're doing here. If you have questions, email me. Send me on the Discord. Send me on YouTube. Whatever you want to do. Be happy to answer them, especially about this printer. We haven't opened up the main board yet and got eyes on that, so we're going to check to see what that is. It's going to be an MKS Pi, though, obviously, because that is what was in main sale. So it's going to be an MKS variant, maker-based variant, if anything. Yeah, people have said that about PLA, sanding and cosplay. And then, like, Polymakers make some cosplay PLA, and I wasn't sure if it was marketing or not, but maybe it's a little easier to sand or it fills in better or something. But something to look for. Polymaker's a great brand, though. I would highly recommend them. King Ruin I use. They're a little inexpensive. I'm actually getting... Ace Additive sent me some filament from my last video or a video a while ago, and it worked out really nicely, and it's kind of inexpensive. I've only used 2 spools, though, so I can't say either way, but both of those were really good. They're sending me more now. I was hoping to have it for the T500, but it just didn't happen because they sent me black and white, and I was like, I asked for colors so people can see what colors they have. So Ace Additive is also what I think is another nice brand, but I need to use it more just to actually be sure. But both filament reels they gave me were awesome. They were spooled tight. They're what's called like high-speed PLA, so you can get a higher flow area with them, and I actually was able to. So that was nice. And they just the colors were nice. Yeah, eSun, Sunlu, anything from Inland, which is from Micro Center. Those are all similar brands. Even Polymaker, I think. Mr. Ed is of the assumption that Polymaker is also eSun or also Inland at some point. We don't know. They're probably most of them all coming off the same factory line. But what I like to tell people especially is, so Elegoo has that like deal too. It's a good 2-pack deal. I don't think I've bought it yet though, Elegoo's PLA, but they have a decent 2-pack deal. What I like to tell people, if possible, is buy from Amazon. Amazon, I mean, you know, people have their whatevers about Amazon, and I get it, but Amazon's customer protection is great. So when you get filament that's not good, in general, you can get your money restored, or at least you can get a credit to buy more filament from Amazon. So that's a great place to start. But if you're going to start a brand, I like Overture. I love Polymaker. I love 3D Max if you're in America. King Ruin's good, not great. I'm looking around here. I don't know. I buy a lot of cheap stuff. It all tends to work out, but I hate to recommend it because you never really know. But those would be... Let me get you guys up here a little bit. Those would be my ultimate recommendations, those 3. Especially Polymaker. Polymaker's great. But, all right, that's it for tonight. We have Kenji's leg still hanging in the... All right, we'll get that out at some point. I got to go to dinner. You got to go to dinner. Someone's got kids to watch. They're already sleeping in the UK, I think, hopefully, maybe not. Thank you all who joined. Appreciate it. Any questions, email me, Discord me, message me on YouTube. Any questions about anything, just get at me. You know where to get it. You know my email. It's in the description somewhere like that. Thank you all so much. Have a great night. Have a great time. And until next time, keep on printing. It's a sign-off. Thanks, Adrian. I appreciate it, man. Happy to do it. So I'm happy. Thank you for everyone that came by to just support.